Chapter 358. You dare to kill me? I'm going to crush your balls. Tai-Footer roared. He charged forward, his ghost-killing staff ready to strike at Hanli. Yang Dingtian was furious. How dare you, Tai-Footer? How dare you offend your superior? Kill him immediately. Yes. Madame Shimin and Zhao Liao pulled out their swords and slashed at Tai-Footer's chest. Yang Yen was startled. He had always felt that once Yang Dingtian fell into the trap, everything would be accomplished. The only thing left was to kill Yang Dingtian openly. After all, everyone was watching, and there were dozens of Heaven Dao Union's observers. But on the other hand, once Yang Dingtian fell into the trap, Yang Yen could not turn on him as long as he was still alive. Therefore, Yang Yen didn't expect that after Yang Dingtian entered the land of certain death, he would actually shout and kill. Hold it, City Lord! Yang Yen shouted and flashed in front of Tai-Footer, blocking Zhao Liao and Madame Shimin's swords. Great Elder, what is the meaning of this? Yang Dingtian said coldly, my subordinates are so presumptuous and humiliated me, yet they aren't punished. How am I going to command this army? You guys fight this battle yourselves. I'm leaving. With that, Yang Dingtian led Madame Shimin and Zhao Liao out. Yang Yen was shocked. Of course, he could not let Yang Dingtian leave just like that. He could not kill Yang Dingtian in front of so many people. If he did, Cloud Sky City would definitely be expelled from the Tiando League. He wanted to kill Yang Dingtian, but he loved Cloud Sky City very much. Suddenly, he looked around and wondered if he should sacrifice Tai-Footer. Yang Dingtian said coldly, Great Elder, if you want to kill Tai-Footer, I'll leave. Yang Yan's face twisted as he looked at Tai-Footer with a ferocious gaze. Tai-Footer was from the barbarian tribe and was undoubtedly very rude. This time, Yang Yen had suffered a lot in order to win him over. Furthermore, his Fire Wolf Fort had repeatedly rebelled and was a thorn in Cloud Sky City's side. However, if the Iron Stupa was killed, the hearts of the other vassals in the territory would be broken. City Lord, this Iron Footer is rude and has offended his superiors. He should be executed. But right now, we are in need of people. How about we let him redeem himself through meritorious service? Yang Yen bowed and begged. You can avoid death, but you can't escape punishment, Yang Dingtian said coldly. Break one of his arms. Yang Yan's face twitched, then he bowed and said, yes. Guards, Iron Stupa has offended his superiors and should be executed. However, a great battle is imminent. When we need someone, we will cut off one of his arms as punishment, Yang Yen shouted. Iron Buddha roared like a wild beast, how dare you? I'll kill you all. Then, he waved his ghost-killing stick and was about to charge out. Zhua Boning's face turned cold, and a demonic light burst out of his eyes. This was a mind art. A powerful mind art directly exploded in Iron Buddha's mind, causing his entire body to shake violently and almost fall to the ground. Shimin Ju stepped forward, and his sharp sword slashed across like a ghost. Blood splattered, and Iron Buddha's right arm was directly cut off. Ah! Iron Buddha let out an earth-shattering scream. Guards, bring him back to treat his injuries, Yang Yen ordered. Then, two martial artists stepped forward and brought Iron Buddha, who was covered in blood, out. Have you figured it out? Which barbarian tribe from the Sunset Mountains invaded Cloud Sky City's territory? Yang Dingtian asked. Yang Yen glanced at Zhao Liao and said, it's the barbarian tribe from Stormy Valley. Yang Dingtian was shocked. Zhao Liao said in shock, this is impossible. After Horong Imo Shah of Stormy Valley was crippled, they should be in serious internal strife now. They definitely don't have the ability to invade Cloud Sky City. Yang Yen said, indeed, the elders of Stormy Valley have been fighting for the position of Valley Master, and they are in serious internal strife. But a month ago, the internal strife of Stormy Valley ended, and they elected a new Valley Master. It was this new Valley Master who led thousands of Stormy Valley's barbarian cavalry into Cloud Sky City's territory. Yang Dingtian asked, who became their new valley master? Was it the great elder? Yang Yen shook his head and said, no, the new valley master is called Tian Luo Mo Sha. Ah! It's him. Jiao Liao let out a surprised voice and said, isn't he already dead? Yang Dingtian looked at Jiao Liao and said, you know this person? Who is he? Huorong Imo Sha's brother. Jiao Liao nodded and said, that's right, he is Huorong Imo Sha's younger brother. Huorong Imo Sha still has some influence from the civilization below the mountain, so he is not completely a barbarian. This Tian Luo Imo Sha is completely like a wild beast, without human relations and extremely cruel. At that time in Stormy Valley, he liked to eat human flesh, and liked to go down the mountain to catch women of the civilized world, saying that their flesh is more tender. What happened to him later? Yang Dingtian asked. Jiao Liao's face slightly reddened and said, this person is even more licentious and lecherous than Huorong Imo Sha. One day, after eating a lot of meat and drinking a lot of wine, he rushed into my house and wanted to rape me. Huorong Imo Sha's possessiveness was extremely strong, and he was immediately furious. He and the 4 elders caught Tian Luo Imo Sha, broke his hands and feet, and then tied him to Sky Peak to endure the sky-splitting punishment. What is the sky-splitting punishment? Yang Dingtian asked. On Sky Peak, there is terrifying lightning all year round. No matter how strong anyone's martial arts is, as long as they are struck, they will directly turn into a pile of charcoal. Jiao Liao said, I was still worried at that time, so I rushed to Sky Peak the next day. I clearly saw that Tian Luo Imo Sha had already turned into a pile of charcoal, completely unrecognizable. At that time, I thought he was dead, but I didn't expect. Yang Dingtian frowned and said, how is the relationship between Tian Luo Imo Sha and Huorong Imo Sha? Jiao Liao said, very good, even though they fight and quarrel every day, their relationship is very good. Especially Tian Luo Imo Sha, even though he is incomparably cruel to others, he is more obedient to his elder brother. At that time, he was Huorong Imo Sha's #1 general. In the entire Stormy Valley, many people are afraid that Tian Luo Imo Sha is more than Huorong Imo Sha. If Tian Luo Imo Sha did not try to molest me, no matter how many mistakes he made, Huorong Imo Sha would not kill him. When saying this, Jiao Liao looked at Yang Dingtian with a slightly strange gaze. Yang Dingtian immediately understood that the so-called Tian Luo Imo Sha's attempt to rape Jiao Liao was clearly just one of her schemes. The goal was to drive a wedge between these two brothers, in order to let Huorong Imo Sha personally get rid of Tian Luo Imo Sha. Then, the reason why Tian Luo Imo Sha survived should be because Huorong Imo Sha secretly released him. At that time, in a rage, Huorong Imo Sha broke his younger brother's 4 limbs, then tied him to Sky Peak and prepared to execute him. But after his mind calmed down, he must have felt reluctant. But he was unwilling to keep this younger brother who could taint his wife at any time by his side, so he chased him out of Stormy Valley. Then, more than 2 months ago, Tian Luo Imo Sha must have known about what happened in Stormy Valley, and also knew that his elder brother had been killed. So he went to Stormy Valley alone and seized the position of Valley Master. After seizing the position of Valley Master, he could not wait to lead thousands of barbarian cavalry into Cloud Sky City territory to avenge his elder brother. The cause and effect were completely flawless. If Yang Dingtian died here, it could be said that Qin Huayu and Yang Yen were almost no suspects. How's Tian Luo Imo Sha's cultivation? Yang Dingtian asked. He's a martial arts fanatic, and his cultivation is not weaker than Huorong Imo Sha's at all. So, in order to capture him, Huorong Imo Sha needed the help of 4 elders, Jiao Liao said. Stronger than Huorong Imo Sha, he was at least a 9-star revered martial artist. Yang Dingtian did not immediately frown. He took a deep breath, then looked at Yang Yen and said, how many days has it been since Rose Villa was attacked? Yang Yen said, in fact, Rose Villa was attacked on the 3rd day after they came to Cloud Sky City to seek help. Now, the thousands of people in the villa have fallen into Tian Luo Imo Sha's hands. When his army finishes eating the people they captured along the way, they will start to eat the people of Rose Villa.
Your army has already arrived a few days ago and has surrounded Rose Villa. Why don't you attack? Yang Dingtian asked. Yang Yen said, firstly, the highest command of this battle is in the hands of the city lord. If the city lord is not here, we don't dare to move. Secondly, the thousands of hostages in Rose Villa and the tens of thousands of hostages we captured along the way are all in the hands of Tian Luo Mo Sha. As soon as we attack the city, they start a massacre. We don't dare to act rashly. Yang Dingtian slowly closed his eyes. Previously, he thought that these so-called barbarian troops were just mercenaries hired by Qin Huayu. Therefore, Li Zhongjian of Rose Villa was definitely a traitor who tried to murder Yang Dingtian. Now, it seemed that Li Zhongjian was really innocent, and Rose Villa was also innocent. They had indeed suffered a calamity because of their loyalty to Yang Dingtian. Tian Luo Mo Sha led thousands of people into Cloud Sky City's territory to avenge his brother. This should be true. Qin Huayu was at most adding fuel to the fire. No wonder the Tiando League had sent dozens of observers. Moreover, many of the observers belonged to forces that did not get along well with Northwest Qin City. It seemed that even without Qin Huayu's scheme, Tian Luo Mo Sha's barbarian cavalry army was definitely a great threat to Cloud Sky City. They had to be completely eliminated. Otherwise, Cloud Sky City's 1,000-mile territory would really be destroyed. These barbarians were completely beasts. They did not bring any food when they sent out their troops. They robbed and ate human flesh on the spot. It was no wonder that Yang Dingtian asked Yang Yen to go to Cloud Sky City's territory to gather troops. He originally thought that there would be no more than 5,000 troops. Who knew that more than 10,000 would come? Almost all the elites in Cloud Sky City's territory had come out in full force. It seemed that this group of people was not completely here to harm Yang Dingtian. They really wanted to eliminate all these barbarian beasts. Otherwise, their own territory would also suffer. Taking a deep breath, Yang Dingtian said, "Everyone else, go out. Great Elder, stay." Everyone turned to look at Yang Yen. If Yang Yen was left alone, wouldn't he be in danger? Didn't you hear the city lord's order? Go out. Yang Yen said coldly. Instantly, everyone else left. Only Yang Dingtian, Yao Rao, Jiao Liao, Madame Shiman, and Yang Yen were left in the tent. Grand Elder, I know that you asked me to come here to kill me. Yang Dingtian looked at Yang Yen and spoke straightforwardly. Yang Yen smiled faintly. He didn't admit or deny it. He said, the city lord left all his direct subordinates in Cloud Sky City. Instead, he ordered all the elites in Black Blood Castle, Abyss Castle, and the 1,000 miles of territory to come out. Of course, his goal was to gather all the forces that opposed you here.
He used himself as bait and tried to catch us all in one fell swoop. Yang Dingtian nodded. Regarding this point, it was not difficult for both sides to see. When did you know that it was Stormy Valley's Tian Luo Mo Sha that attacked Cloud Sky City's territory? Yang Dingtian asked. Yang Yen said, I only found out after arriving here. Originally, I thought that they were just a barbarian army in name. Great Elder, I am extremely cunning and sinister. I want to get rid of you as soon as possible. But there is one thing that I do not doubt, and that is your feelings for Cloud Sky City. Yang Dingtian said, in order to pave the way for Yang Zheng, you did not hesitate to sacrifice your own nephew, Qin Xiaobai. You even watched as your own granddaughter was raped and killed by Qin Xiaobai. You did all of this for Cloud Sky City. Yang Yen nodded and said, Yang Dingtian, Cloud Sky City is the foundation of the Yang family. I must take it back. You are the biggest obstacle, so I must get rid of you. No matter the cost, I must get rid of you. But your character and your love for Cloud Sky City, I also firmly believe in it. Even though I spread rumors everywhere, saying that you and Yang Pei were having an affair, that Shimin Yen Yen wanted you and your daughter, and that I tried my best to smear your name and tarnish your reputation. But in my heart, I admire you very much. Yes. Yang Dingtian nodded and said, the conflict between you and me is completely irreconcilable. This time, it will definitely be a battle of life and death. It is destined that only one of us will be able to return to Cloud Sky City alive. That's right. Yang Yen said, this time, it will definitely be a battle of life and death. Then, before our final battle, how about we unite and destroy Tianluo Mo Sha and his few thousand beasts first? Otherwise, Cloud Sky City's 1,000-mile territory will be completely finished and won't be able to recover for decades. This group of people are all beasts. Wherever they go, they kill, burn, and rape. Yang Dingtian said. What you said is exactly what I was thinking, Yang Yen said. Yang Dingtian stretched out his hand. Yang Yen also stretched out his hand. The two of them hit their palms and then held each other's hands, establishing a temporary contract. Before the battle of life and death, they would cooperate for a short while and destroy Tianluo Mo Sha with their own hands. Then, Yang Dingtian said, Great Elder, this time, only one of us can return to Cloud Sky City alive. But no matter if it's me or you, we both hope to obtain a complete Cloud Sky City. Some forces in Cloud Sky City's territory have already completely surrendered to the Northwest Qin City. To Cloud Sky City, they are a complete disaster. For example, Iron Sword Sect's Sha Zhen is a natural-born traitor. Why don't we take this opportunity to join forces and kill him on the battlefield? Alright. Yang Yen said, but Sha Zhen's cultivation is a full 6-star martial revered. I'm afraid it won't be easy to kill him. If we join forces, we can kill him. Yang Dingtian said, how about this? Tonight, a few of us martial revered experts will sneak into Rose Villa. On the surface, we will kill Tianluo Mo Sha, but in reality, we will lure Sha Zhen to a place and kill him together. Alright. Yang Yen said. Then, Yang Yen looked at Jiao Liao and said, Yang Dingtian, I have something to tell you. Speak. Yang Dingtian said. Yang Yen said, Tianluo Mo Sha secretly sent an envoy over, saying that he came this time only to avenge his brother. So, as long as you hand over Jiao Liao, he will take his people and completely withdraw from Rose Villa. Suddenly, Jiao Liao's delicate body trembled. Yang Dingtian's eyes narrowed and said, is it true? Yang Yen said, it should be true. He also felt a sense of danger. He also felt that he killed his way into Rose Villa because of some force's conspiracy. Now that we have more than 20,000 people surrounding him, he also wants to escape unscathed. He doesn't want to be used by Qin Huayu and sacrifice himself. Yang Dingtian said, if I hand over Jiao Liao, what will happen? Yang Yen said, the first result is that Tianluo Mo Sha will lead all the barbarian cavalry out of Cloud Sky City's territory and sign an agreement to never invade Cloud Sky City. The second result is that Tianluo Mo Sha will be killed by Qin Huayu. Yang Dingtian nodded and said, I understand. However, I will not hand over Jiao Liao. I will not sacrifice anyone who follows me. Understood. Yang Yen said. Good, then go and make the arrangements. Yang Dingtian said, tonight, we will sneak into Rose Villa. On the surface, we will kill Tianluo Mo Sha, but in reality, we will get rid of Sha Zhen and the other traitors of Cloud Sky City. Good. Yang Yen said, then, I will take my leave. After Yang Yen left, Jiao Liao's mood suddenly became somewhat agitated. Madam, and this little sister, I have a few words that I want to say to the city lord alone, Jiao Liao suddenly said. Madame Shimin glanced at Yang Dingtian, then pulled Jiao Liao's hand and left the tent. Suddenly, only Yang Dingtian and Jiao Liao were left in the tent. Jiao Liao stood in front of Yang Dingtian. Tears began to flow and her delicate body began to tremble. Then, Jiao Liao directly knelt down and raised her seductive face. With tears in her eyes, she said, Master, please let me be your woman. Yang Dingtian frowned slightly and said, you don't have to be like this. I said that I will not sacrifice you and will not hand you over. I will definitely not do that. I don't want to be your woman because of this. Jiao Liao said, I beg you. If you allow, please let me personally cut off Tian Luo Mo Sha's head to avenge my parents. Jiao Liao's father was the previous valley master of Storm Valley. Wasn't your father killed by Tian Luo Mo Sha? Yang Dingtian asked. Yes, but he was smashed to death by Tian Luo Mo Sha. His entire head was smashed to pieces. Jiao Liao cried loudly, and my mother, my elder sister, they all died in the hands of that bastard Tian Luo Mo Sha. Moreover, they died in the most humiliating way. Yang Dingtian, so, at that time, you used yourself as bait to seduce Tian Luo Mo Sha to molest you, just to let Tian Luo Mo Sha kill him? Yes. Jiao Liao said, although Tian Luo Mo Sha was extremely licentious and lecherous, he was still very respectful to his elder brother. After I became Tian Luo Mo Sha's woman, although he coveted me, he never really offended me. It was I who put aphrodisiac in his wine and seduced him to my house. I wanted him to die in the hands of Tian Luo Mo Sha, but I didn't expect that Tian Luo Mo Sha didn't kill him in the end. Tian Luo Mo Sha, I must kill him, but you don't have to give yourself to me. Yang Dingtian said. I once swore that whoever could kill Tian Luo Mo Sha, I would be his slave for the rest of my life. Jiao Liao gently wrapped herself around Yang Dingtian and said hoarsely, my lord, please accept my offering. Then, Jiao Liao's delicate body stuck to Yang Dingtian's thigh, her little hands climbing up like a snake. Yang Dingtian pulled her hands away and said, my mother-in-law is just outside, and we are in the wolf's den. Do you think this is appropriate? Yang Dingtian then turned around and said, let's go, we have to prepare for tonight's massacre. Inside Yang Yan's secret tent. Yang Zheng, Yin Bieli, Shiminju, Sha Zhen, and 3 other vassals of Cloud Heaven City were all in the tent. Everyone, we will make our move tonight and eliminate Yang Dingtian. Yang Yan said. Yang Zheng said, Grand Elder, should we first join forces to eliminate Tian Luo Mo Sha and his barbarian army? Otherwise, who knows how many people will die in our Cloud Heaven City's territory? Yang Dingtian is our greatest threat. Yang Yan said, Tian Luo Mo Sha has already been surrounded, and he will at most massacre the people of Rose Manor. Anyway, that idiot Li Zhongjian is loyal to Yang Dingtian, and it would be best if he is eaten alive by Tian Luo Mo Sha. Killing Yang Dingtian is the most important thing, or else, I'm afraid a long night will bring more trouble. Yang Zheng's brows trembled slightly, and then he nodded. Tonight's opportunity is very good. Yang Yan said, Yang Dingtian didn't make any preparations. I just high-fived him and expressed that we are willing to join forces to eliminate Tian Luo Mo Sha. We also discussed how to use this opportunity to eliminate Sha Zhen and a few other vassals. I discussed with him that we will sneak into Rose Manor tonight. On the surface, it will be a sneak attack on Tian Luo Mo Sha, but in reality, we will join forces to eliminate Sha Zhen and the others. Sha Zhen suddenly laughed and said, little bastard, you haven't even grown your hair yet, and you are learning how to scheme. Tonight, we will eliminate him. That's right, Grand Elder, I have been drooling over Yang Pei for a long time. This woman belongs to me, how about it? Yang Zheng frowned slightly and said, this is not appropriate. After Yang Dingtian dies, she will be my mother-in-law. Sha Zhen said, then at least tonight, she belongs to me, how about it? In the future, she will belong to you, and you will be like Yang Dingtian, both mother and daughter. Yang Zheng's face revealed a look of disgust. Alright, let's kill Yang Dingtian first, then we will talk about other things. Yang Yan said, remember, tonight, use my sigh as the signal. After I sigh, everyone will immediately take action and kill Yang Dingtian. Yes! Everyone shouted in unison. The sky was completely dark. Other than patrolling and keeping watch, the majority of the 20,000-plus soldiers surrounding Rose Manor had already entered Dreamland. Yang Dingtian, Madame Shimin, Jiao Liao, Yao Rao. Yang Yan, Shimin Ju, Yang Zheng, Sha Zhen, Yen Bieli, and 3 other martial revered vassals gathered in the darkness. Yang Dingtian and Yang Yan looked at each other and said, "Let's go and sneak attack Rose Manor." Then, there were a total of 12 people from both sides. They quickly disappeared in the darkness and sneaked towards Rose Manor. In the dense darkness of the night, there was a murderous intent. Chapter 359. They were 800 meters away from Rose Manor. This was a vacuum zone between the two forces. There was no one around. Yang Yan used a special energy to transmit his voice to everyone's ears. "I will repeat tonight's mission. We are to sneak attack Rose Manor and destroy the city gate." Rose Manor was built in a rocky valley. The so-called city walls were made of natural boulders. It was almost impossible to break through with brute force. The only flaw was the city gate. Its city gate was built at the entrance of the valley. Tianluo Mo Sha obviously knew that the defense's weakness was at the city gate. Therefore, he arranged many experts at the city gate. Therefore, the entire Rose Manor could be said to be one man guarding the pass. Therefore, in order to invade Rose Manor, Yang Dingtian and Yang Yan placed their hopes on destroying the city gate. According to Yang Yan and Yang Dingtian's mission tonight, it was to sneak attack Rose Manor and destroy the city gate. In fact, their real goal was to eliminate Sha Zhen and the others. However, as for their real goal, only the heavens knew if it was to kill Sha Zhen or the others. The few of them took a detour for a few hundred meters and arrived at a wide river. Yang Yan stopped and said, "Go down the river and enter the secret passage." "There's a secret passage?" Iron Sword Sect's patriarch, Sha Zhen, asked. Yang Yan took the lead and jumped into the river. Yang Zheng and Shimin Ju followed suit. Then, Shimin Ju, Yen Bieli, Sha Zhen, and the others all jumped in. Madame Shimin, Jiao Liao, and Yao Rao were all wearing tight clothes. They could dive into the water, but they stood on the shore and didn't move. "Xiao Tian, I feel a sense of danger. I don't trust Yang Yan," Madame Shimin said. At this moment, the river was quiet. In the darkness, even the waves became gloomy and dark. It looked like it was filled with killing intent. Taking a deep breath, Yang Dingtian jumped into the river. He swam in the water and followed Yang Yan. After swimming for about 500 meters, Yang Yan suddenly said, "Come and help. The entrance of the secret passage is a boulder. It weighs at least a few 100,000 kilograms." Yang Dingtian, Shimin Ju, Sha Zhen, and Yang Zheng went forward. This boulder was extremely huge. At first glance, it looked like a riverbed rock. The 4 of them grabbed the 4 corners of the boulder and prepared to lift it. At this moment, Sha Zhen's ears perked up as he stared at Yang Yan. They had agreed that as long as Yang Yan sighed, they would immediately attack. There was a terrifying silence at the bottom of the river. "Lift!" Yang Yan shouted. Yang Dingtian, Shimin Ju, Yang Zheng, and Sha Zhen exerted their strength. Immediately, the boulder weighing more than 100,000 kilograms was lifted up and placed to the side. Even the bottom of the river was shaking. Then, a hole appeared at the bottom of the river. This was the secret passage to the Rose Villa. "Everyone, enter the secret passage," Yang Yan ordered. Immediately, a group of 12 people entered the secret passage. Even though the secret passage was at the bottom of the river, there was no water in the passage because of the special crimson water energy crystal at the entrance. It was quite dry, but because it had been here for a long time, there was a decaying smell. The few of them walked in the secret passage, and no one made a sound. The atmosphere was dangerous and oppressive. "Great Elder, is the army ready?" Yang Dingtian asked. Yang Yan said, "Everything is ready, and they are taking a nap. As long as the command arrow flies into the sky, the vanguard troops will immediately attack the Rose Villa." "Good," Yang Dingtian said. The few of them continued to walk forward. The voices became softer and softer, and the atmosphere became more oppressive. Suddenly, Yang Yen stopped and said, "City Lord, above us is the Rose Villa city gate." Yang Dingtian looked around. They were already at the end of the secret passage, and it was very wide. 12 thick stone pillars stood at the end of the secret passage. Obviously, because the city gate was very heavy, the hollow foundation of the secret passage was unable to support the weight of the gate. Therefore, 12 stone pillars were used to support the gate. Look carefully, these 12 stone pillars are supporting the weight of the city gate above. As long as these 12 stone pillars are destroyed, the city gate above will collapse, and the entire Rose Villa will lose its defense. Our army will be able to attack like a tide. Yang Yen said, "We have 12 people here, each of us can destroy one pillar." Sha Zhen said, "Then what are we waiting for? Let's begin." Finishing his words, he pulled out his giant sword and revealed a bloodthirsty smile. Yang Yen said, "Next, listen to my orders. Everyone will attack together and destroy the stone pillars. Remember, everyone must move in unison. Otherwise, when the city gate above us collapses, it will be hard for us to escape. Therefore, we must slash together and escape together." "Okay." Everyone replied. "Everyone, take your positions." Yang Yen said, "Me, Shimanju, Yang Zheng, Yen Bieli, the first row of stone pillars. Yang Dingtian, Jiao Liao, Yang Peipei, Yang Hongyi, the second row of stone pillars. Sha Zhen, Kun Sha, Zhang Jichong, Su Duantian, the third row of stone pillars." After everyone was in position, Yang Dingtian realized that the four of them were surrounded in the middle. In front was Yang Yen, Yang Zheng and the rest. Behind them was Sha Zhen and the rest. In that instant, Yang Dingtian's brows twitched. "Everyone, draw your weapons," Yang Yen ordered. Instantly, everyone present silently drew their weapons. Yang Dingtian's golden soul sword was dazzling even in the darkness. Furthermore, he drew two swords at once. His left hand was the remnant body of the strange sword, while his right hand was the golden soul sword. "Grand Elder, my maidservant's cultivation has just reached the martial ancestor realm. Therefore, she should not be able to destroy this huge stone pillar. Therefore, I will use the sword in my left hand to destroy one pillar together with her," Yang Dingtian said. "Okay," Yang Yen said. Then, Yang Yen took a deep breath and said, "I will count down from 3. In that instant, the secret passage was filled with a deathly silence. Everyone's gaze was cold and focused. In the narrow space, a terrifying killing intent was condensed. 3, 2, 1. After the countdown ended, everyone's gaze turned dark. Sigh. Suddenly, Yang Yen let out a strange sigh. Die, instantly, Shimanju, Yang Yen, Yang Zheng, Yen Bieli, Sha Zhen, and the rest shot out rays of light like poisonous snakes. Swish 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 swish, the sharp swords in the hands of the 12 people pierced out like poisonous snakes. Poochie, 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 without any sound, fresh blood spurted out. 5 sharp swords pierced towards Yang Dingtian. 3 sharp swords pierced towards Sha Zhen. The remaining 3 sharp swords pierced towards the other 3 traitorous feudal vassals of Cloud Heaven City. Every sword was incomparably poisonous and tricky. Everyone gathered all of their Xian Qi, all of their power, and used everything they had to stab out this sword. Sha Zhen and the other 3 traitorous feudal vassals' swords pierced towards Yang Dingtian's throat. Poochie poochie poochie. Fresh blood spurted out. Yang Dingtian's mouth was filled with blood. His head and face were soaked in blood. Sha Zhen's neck was pierced by Yang Dingtian's sword. His heart was pierced by Yang Yen and Madame Shiman. He died without letting out any miserable shrieks. Fresh blood spurted out. His eyes that were filled with disbelief were instantly filled with blood vessels. His dying gaze was fixed on Yang Yen. He only wanted to ask why, but he couldn't. Similarly, the other three traitorous feudal vassals of Cloud Heaven City were all pierced in the head by Jiao Liao, Yang Zheng, and Yan Bieli. The tips of these four people's swords were only an inch away from Yang Dingtian. Sha Zhen's cultivation was very high, not inferior to Yang Yan and Shiminju. He was definitely not easy to kill. The remaining three feudal vassals were also martial honorable experts. Therefore, these four people were definitely not easy to kill. However, they would never have thought that Yang Yan and the rest would turn hostile and kill, and even attack them. The four of them were completely unguarded against Yang Yan and the rest. They originally thought that the 8 of them would kill Yang Dingtian alone. Therefore, there was no sound or sign. Yang Dingtian and Yang Yan worked together, and the 7 of them silently slaughtered the 4 traitorous feudal vassals led by Sha Zhen. While everyone was attacking, Yang Hongyi, who was played by Yao Rao, used her fastest speed to squat on the ground. This was because she was only playing the role of a martial ancestor. However, there was still a sword that ruthlessly pierced Yang Dingtian's back. He felt a sharp pain and spat out a mouthful of blood. This sword came from Shiminju. It was obvious that Yang Yan did not tell Shiminju the entire plan. When Sha Zhen and the other 3 fell to the ground, Shiminju's ugly eyes revealed an incomparably horrified light. He then tried to escape at lightning speed. However, after escaping for a few meters, he stopped and looked at Yang Yan. I almost forgot. You don't dare to kill me because I represent the Northwest Qin city. Then, Shiminju looked at the corpses of Sha Zhen and the rest on the ground and said to Yang Yan, Grand Elder, aren't you afraid that young Lord Qin will turn hostile by doing this? Yang Yan said indifferently, I'm not like you. I love Cloud Heaven City. Then, Yang Dingtian stretched out his hand and shook Yang Yan's hand. Grand Elder, happy cooperation. Yang Yan said, Yang Dingtian, do you want to cooperate again? How? Yang Dingtian asked. To kill Tianluo Mo Sha. Yang Yan said. He then pointed at the door at the end of the secret passage and said, behind this door is another secret passage that leads directly to the Mist Treasure Pavilion of the Rose Villa. It is the center of the Rose Villa and the most magnificent building. Perhaps, Tianluo Mo Sha is inside there. This person is extremely licentious and should be raping the beauties of the Rose Villa. We will hide under his bed and scheme against him. Moreover, there are 12 of us. Although he is a 9-star marshal revered, we should be enough to kill him. Don't count me in. Shiminju said coldly. Oh, I almost forgot. This Tianluo Mo Sha was instigated by young Lord Qin to attack Cloud Heaven City's territory. Therefore, he is your ally. Yang Yan sneered, Shiminju, I will give you 2 choices. The first choice, Yang Dingtian and I will work together to kill you. The second choice. Shiminju's eyes shrunk and said, what is the second choice? The second choice is still to kill you. Yang Yan said. Just as Yang Yan's voice fell, the 4 of them stabbed out with their swords in unison. When Shiminju heard Yang Yan's second sentence, a trace of shock flashed across his eyes. Then, he fled like lightning. Yang Yan and the other 2 chased out like ghosts. Shiminju had only fled for a dozen meters before he was caught up by Yang Yan and the other 2. Yang Zheng's mystic flame suddenly struck out and directly blasted Shiminju's heart. Shiminju's figure suddenly stopped. Then, Yang Yan and the other 2 pounced forward like ghosts and surrounded Shiminju. The cultivation of these 3 people was not inferior to Shiminju and even surpassed him. Furthermore, Shiminju had not recovered from his serious injuries. He could not use his heaven-defying mystic skills here. Therefore, surrounded by the 3 of them, he could only be slaughtered. Pu-chi, 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 in the darkness. Yang Yan and the other 2's swords continuously stabbed out. Without any fancy moves, they directly stabbed at Shiminju's body. Bursts of blood spurted out. The entire secret passage was filled with blood. Hiss, in the darkness, Shiminju's right hand trembled as he pointed at Yang Dingtian. Then, he collapsed to the ground. After killing Shimanju, Yang Yen and the other three turned back and said to Yang Dingtian, "Now, all the traitors have been completely eliminated. Only our two sides are left. No matter who wins or loses, what is left behind is a pure cloud heaven city." Yang Dingtian's breathing suddenly became hurried. His fingers were also trembling. He looked at Shimanju's corpse in a pool of blood dozens of meters away in disbelief. Even though Madame Shiman hated Shimanju to the extreme, her entire body was currently trembling non-stop. She looked at everything in front of her in disbelief. She looked at Yang Yen as if she had seen a devil. Yang Yen gently wiped the blood on his sword and said to Yang Dingtian, "Next, let's go kill Tianluo Masha. Do you want to go?" Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Then, he nodded and said, "Okay. Let's go." Yang Yen nodded. Then, the three of them led the way in front, leaving their backs to Yang Dingtian and the other three. After opening that small door, the secret passage ahead was much smaller. However, it was also much cleaner. It was completely made of smooth stone. This secret passage led to the core of Rose Villa, the Mist Treasure Pavilion. Obviously, Rose Villa had spent a lot of effort to build this secret passage. It was originally for escaping, but they didn't expect that Yang Dingtian and the others would use it now. The group of people silently moved through the secret passage and went deep into Rose Villa. At this moment, the distance between the secret passage and the surface was no longer thick. Therefore, the noises on the surface could be heard. Countless people were laughing wildly. Countless people were howling miserably. Countless women were screaming and moaning. Obviously, the barbarian race warriors were doing things that were worse than animal meat on the surface. The group of people didn't make any sound as they walked deeper into the secret passage. 200 meters. 500 meters. 1,000 meters. Finally, they reached the true end of the secret passage. Above them was the core of Rose Villa, the Mist Treasure Pavilion. The exit of the secret passage was even the big bed in the Mist Treasure Pavilion. Creak, creak, Yang Dingtian and the others could clearly hear the sound of the bed being pressed down. There were also the screams and cries of women. There was also the roar of a beast-like man. Jiao Liao, he was indeed Tianluo Mo Sha. He was molesting a woman in Rose Villa and mistook her for Jiao Liao. There was no doubt that Tianluo Mo Sha was at his weakest and his defense was at its weakest. Yang Dingtian and Yang Yen looked at each other and nodded. As long as Tianluo Mo Sha reached his peak, the four of them would charge out like lightning and dismember him on the bed. Ah! Tianluo Mo Sha suddenly let out a crazy roar. Obviously, the time was up. Kill! Chapter 360. Ah! The roar of the Tianluo Masha shook the heavens. At the same time, in the secret underground passage, Yang Dingtian and Yang Yan's eyes lit up. Kill! The seven of them shouted. With a sharp sword in hand, he suddenly rushed out of the secret passage. Pa! With a loud bang, the huge bed instantly exploded, shattering into pieces. Yang Dingtian, Yang Yen, and the rest of the seven shot out like shooting stars. 7 sharp swords pierced into the back of Tianluo Masha like lightning. Tianluo Mo Sha, who was at its climax, was startled. At this moment, it was too late to react. The only thing he could do was to circulate all the profound chi in his body and condense it on his skin, instantly making his body invulnerable for a short period of time. Blackstone transformation, Tianluo Masha let out a loud roar. Suddenly, the skin all over his body condensed and turned black, turning into the outer shell of the Millennium Supper. It was incomparably sturdy and nearly indestructible. Dang 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 dang, the sharp swords of the 7 people fiercely stabbed into the back of the Tianluo Masha. However, it was almost impossible to pierce through. Instead, the blade of the sword suddenly bent and burst into sparks. Only Yang Dingtian's sword pierced the back of the Tianluo Masha, but it was only able to penetrate less than an inch before it was locked by an extremely powerful force, unable to go any further. This heavenly sifting Masha was indeed a 9-star revered martial artist. This blackstone transformation was indeed a heaven-defying technique. It could actually make his entire body invulnerable for a short period of time. After blocking the sharp swords of the 7 people, Tianluo Masha suddenly turned around. Its ugly and terrifying face revealed an incomparably ferocious gaze as it stared fixedly at Yang Dingtian and the others. Its eyes revealed the blood-red color of a wild beast, as if it wanted to tear all 8 of them into pieces. Yang Yen and the others were shocked. They really didn't expect that the 7 of them attacking together, and under the circumstances where Tianluo Masha was completely unprepared, they still couldn't kill him. Next, they would have to face the counterattack of the Tianluo Masha. The counterattack of a 9-star revered martial artist was obviously very shocking. Yang Dingtian's heart trembled, because with Yao Rao here, he naturally wouldn't be in danger. But Yao Rao's strength couldn't be exposed now. Once she exposed her strength, then she would have no chance to win against Qin Huayu. Yao Rao, this secret weapon, could only be exposed when fighting against the master-level expert beside Qin Huayu, otherwise Yang Dingtian's plan would be completely wasted. Then, Yang Dingtian looked at the ugly face of Tianluo Masha, and his eyes narrowed. It was clear that Yang Dingtian's soul sword was close to being the #1 sword in the world. It was completely indestructible. However, Yang Dingtian's Xian Qi wasn't strong enough when facing the Sky Luo Masha, so it was forcibly locked down by the Sky Luo Masha's Xian Qi. With the world's #1 soul sword and the heaven and earth mystic flame, I don't believe that I can't pierce through. In an instant, Yang Dingtian condensed the million-spirit demon flame to the extreme. Then, he focused all the terrifying heat on the tip of the soul sword. Instantly, the temperature at the tip of Yang Dingtian's soul sword reached a terrifying level. It could completely melt everything. If it wasn't for the fact that Yang Dingtian's sword was close to the emperor level, if it was any other sword, it would have been vaporized long ago. The soul sword with a temperature of hundreds of thousands of degrees suddenly became incomparably destructive. Tianluo Masha was shocked. Then, he realized to his horror that his Xian Qi was completely unable to lock down the other party's sword. This was because the Blackstone transformation was a heaven-defying and special cultivation technique. When using this cultivation technique, all the Xian Qi had to be condensed on the surface of the skin, making the entire body impenetrable. However, the entire person could only be in a completely defensive state and couldn't provide any Xian Qi to attack. Therefore, Tianluo Masha could only frantically continue to inject Xian Qi into the Blackstone transformation, desperately blocking Yang Dingtian's soul sword. However, the soul sword combined with the million-spirit demon flame was too heaven-defying. It directly melted everything around it. Then, Yang Dingtian's soul sword was like a hot knife cutting through lard. It directly pierced in and burned everything around it into charcoal. In an instant, the Blackstone transformation on Tianluo Masha's back was completely destroyed. Hiss, 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 Yang Yen and the other 6 people's sharp swords suddenly pierced into Tianluo Masha's back. Ah! Tianluo Masha let out a beast-like howl. Then, his huge eyes began to fill with blood and began to turn red. Boom! Then, his entire body began to burn. Die! Tianluo Masha let out a loud roar and instantly removed the Blackstone transformation. He condensed all the Xian Qi in his right palm and then fiercely slashed at Yang Dingtian and the others. Bang! In an instant, Tianluo Masha's huge back suddenly exploded into a mass of flesh and blood. Then, his body suddenly broke free from the 7 people's swords. Whoosh! His heavily injured body spurted out a terrifying blood mist, turned into a black shadow, smashed through all the walls, and instantly disappeared without a trace. And the palm before he ran, fiercely struck Yang Dingtian and the other 7 people. It didn't directly hit but only a palm strike in the air. Boom, there was a loud noise. The entire bed was turned into dust. The front wall was turned into dust. Wherever the palm wind reached, everything within 100 meters was turned into dust. Yang Dingtian and the other 7 people were all like straws, all of them were sent flying dozens of meters and fiercely crashed into the wall. Their bodies fiercely crashed into the wall, directly causing the wall of the Mist Treasure Pavilion to collapse. After falling to the ground, Yang Dingtian immediately spurted out a mouthful of blood. Then, Yang Zheng, Yang Yan, Yin Bieli, Madame Shimin, and Zhao Liao all spurted out a mouthful of blood. Among them, Zhao Liao's beautiful face was deathly pale, almost without any trace of blood. Although Yang Dingtian's cultivation was the lowest among them, his resistance to attacks was the strongest, so his injuries were the lightest. And Yang Hongyi, who was played by Yao Rao, was currently unconscious. Blood was flowing from her nose and mouth, and it was unknown whether she was alive or dead. Because she was playing the role of a martial ancestor. Although she didn't directly face Tianluo Masha's palm wind, she still suffered a destructive blow. Therefore, Yao Rao was very dedicated to playing the role of a martial ancestor. Yang Dingtian hurriedly took out a few elixirs and gave them to Madame Shimin, Zhao Liao, himself, and Yao Rao. Of course, Yao Rao's elixir was only an ordinary one. The remaining 3 were sacred water elixirs. Then, they immediately sat down to adjust their breathing. As for Yang Hongyi, who was played by Yao Rao, her breathing gradually recovered, as if she had just returned from the gates of hell. Yang Dingtian and Yang Yan looked at each other and saw the shock in each other's eyes. This Tianluo Masha's strength was truly frightening. 6 revered martial ancestors and 1 martial ancestor killed 1 Tianluo Masha. Moreover, when he was at his climax, when he was defenseless, they actually didn't succeed. He actually managed to escape by cutting off his tail, and that palm strike before he escaped injured all 7 of them. Yang Yan looked at Yao Rao, who was lying motionless on the ground, and asked, "Is she all right?" Yang Dingtian stepped forward and stretched out his hand to check her breathing. Her life was saved, but her cultivation was completely destroyed. Then, Yang Dingtian tore a hole in her clothes where her qi was. Countless cracks appeared on her smooth and flat abdomen. This meant that her qi was destroyed. Yang Yan glanced at the cracks on Yang Hongyi's qi, then wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. "I didn't expect that we still couldn't kill Tianluo Masha under such circumstances. He's not even a martial ancestor yet, but he's already so terrifying." Yang Dingtian took out 3 8th grade divine origin pills and handed them to Yang Yan. He cut off his tail to survive, and almost half of his back exploded. His injuries are very serious, and his cultivation must have been greatly damaged. If we chase after him, we can definitely kill him. Otherwise, there's no need for him to escape. Yang Yan took the pills from Yang Dingtian and distributed them to Yang Zheng and Yang Dingtian. He then swallowed them, as if he wasn't worried that Yang Dingtian had poisoned them. "What should we do next?" Yang Zheng asked. Yang Dingtian replied, "After a short rest, we'll destroy the city gates. Let the 20,000 soldiers follow the original plan and kill their way into Rose Villa. Then, the 6 of us will continue to chase after Tianluo Masha." Yang Zheng didn't agree, but looked at Yang Yan instead. Yang Yan nodded, "Follow Yang Dingtian's instructions." Yang Zheng said, "Then you guys rest here. I'll go and cut down the supporting stone pillars below the city gates. Once the city gates collapse, immediately release a signal flare for the army to attack Rose Villa." Yang Dingtian nodded. Yang Zheng took the sword and returned to the secret passage, jumping down. Yang Dingtian and the rest closed their eyes and adjusted their breathing, waiting for the sound of the city gates collapsing. Just 10 minutes later. Boom! Suddenly, there was a loud sound, and the ground trembled as if there was an earthquake. Yang Dingtian opened his eyes and looked out of the window. He saw the huge city gates 1,000 meters away suddenly collapsing. Underground, it was as if an incomparably huge mouth had opened. The huge city gates made of stone immediately broke, and the hundreds of people on top fell down and were crushed into meat paste by the huge rocks. Then, the only entrance to Rose Villa, the huge city gates completely sank into the ground and became a flat land, disappearing in front of everyone. Yang Yan and Yang Dingtian took out the signal flare from their arms and pulled it out. Whoosh, whoosh, 1 red and 1 blue signal flare, two signal flare, flew straight into the sky. Bang! Bang! Then, it suddenly exploded in the air, bursting out two huge fireworks. Suddenly, the Cloud Sky City's army camp a few thousand meters away lit up with countless torches. The warriors who were sleeping in their clothes got up one after another and gathered at the fastest speed. Kill! Then, there was a loud roar. Suddenly, the sound of drums shook the sky. The entire camp was brightly lit. Countless troops, under the command of their commanding officers, charged towards the Rose Villa like a tide. At this moment, Yang Zheng jumped out from the secret passage. Go, chase after Tianluo Masha. Following Yang Yan's order, everyone jumped up from the ground and flew out of the treasure mist pavilion to chase after Tianluo Masha. As for Yang Hongyi, who was pretending to be dead or alive, she was carried on Madame Shimon's back. Next, Yang Dingtian and Yang Yan almost searched the entire Rose Villa, but they could not find Tianluo Masha. They did not know where he was hiding. They captured many of the middle and high-level barbarian warriors and asked about Tianluo Masha's whereabouts, but they did not get any answers. Moreover, Li Zhongjian and the others from Rose Villa were also missing. At this moment, Cloud Sky City's 20,000 troops had already attacked the entrance of Rose Villa. Here, there were no solid walls blocking them, and the entire entrance was dozens of meters wide, enough for the army to rush in. But when the army rushed in, flesh and blood flew everywhere, and corpses soared into the sky. Cloud Sky City's experts continued to rush in, but in a short period of time, they were all turned into incomplete corpses. After a few minutes of killing, Cloud Sky City's army had hundreds of people lying on the ground. The 20,000 troops stopped in their tracks. All the troops crowded at the entrance, not daring to take another step forward. Yang Dingtian flew into the air and saw clearly. It turned out that there were more than 100 barbarian experts at the entrance of the villa. These barbarian experts were all like giants. They wore thick armor and held large sabers that were 1 to 2 meters long. Leading them were 2 martial honorable level elders from the Sunset Mountain range. The rest were martial ancestor level experts. The ones at the edge were at least high-level martial mystic level experts. It could be said that the barbarians had placed all their elites at the entrance. It was no wonder that they could stop the attack of Cloud Sky City's 20,000 troops. They had also turned this entrance into a death zone. Yang Dingtian said to Yang Yan, Great Elder, most of the barbarian experts are at the entrance. Let's go kill them and let the army enter the villa. Yang Yan nodded. Then, Yang Dingtian, Yang Yan, and the rest of the 6 flapped their mystic chi wings and glided towards the entrance of the city. Swoosh 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 swoosh, Yang Dingtian and the rest were very fast. They rushed to the entrance in an instant. The barbarian experts at the entrance were shocked when they saw Yang Dingtian. A martial honorable level elder saw Yang Dingtian and Jiao Liao and said angrily, Jiao Liao, are you going to kill your fellow countrymen? Fellow countrymen? You are all my enemies. Jiao Liao said coldly. Martial ancestor level and above, turn around. The elder ordered. Suddenly, the 30 over martial ancestor level experts and the 2 martial honorable level elders all turned around and faced Yang Dingtian. Bang bang bang, like a comet hitting the earth, Yang Dingtian, Yang Yan, and the rest charged forward. The barbarian experts raised their giant swords and sabers and slashed towards Yang Dingtian and the others. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's eyes lit up. Dozens of sabers and swords appeared like a forest. Yang Dingtian's opponent was a martial honorable level elder. The golden soul sword in his hand was aimed at the martial honorable level barbarian elder's giant sword and slashed fiercely. Clang, there was no fire and there was not even a loud collision sound. The martial honorable level barbarian elder's giant sword flew out as if it was made of clay. Boom! Then, the soul sword in Yang Dingtian's hand burned with mystic fire and slashed towards the barbarian elder's head. Ah! The martial honorable level barbarian elder roared and slashed out with his palms at Yang Dingtian. He wanted to use his mystic chi to shake Yang Dingtian away. Bang! Yang Dingtian's soul sword fiercely slashed at the opponent's mystic chi energy. There was a loud sound and a burst of light. The martial honorable level barbarian elder was sent flying like a straw and spat out a mouthful of blood. Die! Yang Dingtian pounced fiercely and the soul sword in his hand continued to slash down fiercely. Puff! A rain of blood. The martial honorable level barbarian elder was cut in half by Yang Dingtian in the air. Blood spurted out wildly and he died without even having time to scream. At the same time, Yang Yen and Yang Zheng worked together to cut the other martial honorable level barbarian elder into 2 pieces. At this time, they were looking at Yang Dingtian with a trace of surprise in their eyes. This Yang Dingtian was at most a 2-star martial honorable. And this barbarian elder was a 1-star martial honorable, only 1 star lower than Yang Dingtian. Under normal circumstances, although he was not a match for Yang Dingtian, he would at least be defeated after 100 moves. He did not expect to be killed in an instant without any resistance. In front of opponents of the same level, Yang Dingtian had an absolute advantage. At this moment, Zhao Liao and Madame Shimen were like tigers in a flock of sheep as they rushed into the 30 martial ancestor level barbarian experts. In an instant, it was a massacre and blood splattered everywhere. Any martial honorable had an absolute advantage in front of a martial ancestor. Therefore, in a short period of time, nearly 10 martial ancestor level barbarian experts were killed by Shimen Wuren and Zhao Liao. Immediately after, Yang Dingtian, Yang Yen, Yang Zheng and Yen Bieli rushed in. Swish 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 swish, saber light and sword shadows flashed. Blood rushed to the sky and limbs flew everywhere. In a short period of 10 seconds, hundreds of barbarian experts were killed cleanly. The elite defensive line that blocked the 20,000-strong army was reduced to nothing in an instant. Yang Dingtian leaped into the sky and ordered loudly, "Rush in and kill them all. Don't leave a single barbarian alive." Yang Dingtian did not have any intention of capturing these barbarian warriors. Every single one of these brute tribe warriors had a blood debt on them. Every single one of them deserved to die. Originally, the army of Cloud Sky City had already rushed in. However, after Yang Dingtian gave the order, the army stopped. The leader was the commander of Yang Dingtian's personal army, Yang Zhu, who sneered at Yang Dingtian. It was as if he was mocking Yang Dingtian for overestimating himself and trying to command them. As for the feudal lords of Cloud Sky City, they turned their heads to the side and ignored Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian looked at Yang Zhu coldly and said, "Did you not hear my order?" Yang Zhu sneered, "Sorry, I only listened to Grand Elder Yang Yan's orders." Yang Dingtian's gaze was like lightning as he looked at Yang Yan. Yang Yan's expression turned cold. "Did you not hear the city lord's order? Rush in and kill all the barbarians." "Yes!" Yang Zhu and the other feudal lords shouted in unison. It was a world of difference from when Yang Dingtian's orders were ignored. Yang Dingtian continued, "In addition, you must not offend Rose Villa. If you rob or humiliate a woman, you will be beheaded in public. Do you understand?" Yang Zhu and the feudal vassals of the Cloud Heaven City didn't bother about Yang Dingtian and immediately rushed in. 3 hours later, the battle ended. All the barbarian warriors were killed and not a single captive was left. When Yang Dingtian saw that the barbarians had piled up the heads of the citizens of Cloud Heaven City, there were a few thousand heads piled up like a small mountain. Yang Dingtian was furious. "Behead all the barbarian warriors and hang them at the border between Sunset Mountains and Cloud Sky City," Yang Dingtian ordered. However, no one responded. Yang Dingtian's expression turned cold as he walked into the Rose Villa's meeting hall. Yang Yen, Yang Zheng, Yen Bieli, Yang Zhu, the feudal lords of Cloud Sky City, and the observers of the Tiando League, a total of 200 people, all entered the main hall. The battle ended and all the barbarian warriors were killed. Thus, Yang Yen and Yang Dingtian's temporary cooperation had ended. Next, it was a life and death struggle between the two sides. After entering the main hall, Yang Dingtian immediately walked to the highest position and sat down without hesitation. Yang Yen and the others also found a place to sit. The observers of the Tiando League also found a place to sit. Jiao Liao stood behind Yang Dingtian, while Madame Yang Dingtian sat in the lower left corner. Yang Dingtian looked at Yang Zhu and said, "Yang Zhu, didn't you hear my previous order?" "What order?" Yang Zhu asked coldly. "I said that we must not offend the people of Rose Villa. However, your Yang clan's personal army killed dozens of people of Rose Villa and humiliated dozens of women. How should you punish them?" Yang Dingtian said coldly. Yang Zhu said coldly, "They are no longer people of Rose Villa. They abandoned themselves and served the barbarians. We brothers fought a bitter battle, so what's wrong with using them to vent our anger? My lords, don't you think so?" "That's right." The feudal lords of Cloud Sky City laughed loudly. "City Lord Yang Dingtian, don't meddle in other people's business." Following that, the 100 people present mocked and criticized Yang Dingtian loudly. "Presumptuous." Yang Dingtian roared and stood up abruptly. He pointed at Yang Zhu and shouted, "Yang Zhu knowingly broke the law and condoned the Yang clan's personal army to rape and pillage. Drag him out and behead him. All the Yang clan's personal army to rape and pillage, behead them all." Once these words were spoken, everyone was shocked, and there was complete silence. The Yang clan's personal army had more than 1,000 people, and there were 100 or 200 people who participated in the kidnapping and pillaging. They did this not entirely out of selfishness, but to teach Yang Dingtian a lesson. Yang Dingtian had ordered them not to pillage and humiliate women, so they just had to do it. The Yang clan's personal army was willing to do anything that went against Yang Dingtian. However, no one expected that Yang Dingtian would actually give the order to kill all the Yang clan's personal army that had committed crimes. One had to know that there were hundreds of them. Was Yang Dingtian crazy? One had to know that among the nearly 20,000 troops present, no one obeyed his orders. Therefore, after Yang Dingtian's words fell, the scene was silent. Pfft! Suddenly, Yang Zhu burst into laughter. Then, his face turned cold and he said coldly, "City Lord Yang Dingtian, throughout the entire war, our Yang clan's personal army had always been on the front line and had outstanding military achievements. Not only did you not reward us, but you want to kill us all. Are you still our city lord? Are you so impatient to get rid of the donkey after it has outlived its usefulness and eliminate your dissidents?" Then, Yang Zhu directly knelt in front of Yang Yan, in front of the Tiando League's observers, and said loudly, "Great Elder, lords of the Tiando League, we don't want a city lord like this. We beg the Tiando League and the Council of Elders to immediately dismiss Yang Dingtian." At the same time, the Yang clan's personal army officers behind Yang Zhu also knelt down neatly. Then, more than 100 feudal lords of Cloud Sky City also knelt down. Yang Dingtian colluded with the barbarian woman, Jiao Liao, and offended the Sunset Mountains, causing a disaster. He caused the barbarian army to invade Cloud Sky City's territory and killed countless of our people. All of this was caused by Yang Dingtian's personal vendetta. We were selfless and led the territory's troops to eliminate the barbarian army. Who would have thought that Yang Dingtian would be so shameless and not have the slightest bit of gratitude in his heart? Instead, he wanted to kill us. We don't want a city lord like this. We beg the Tiando League Northwest Branch and the Council of Elders of Cloud Sky City to immediately dismiss Yang Dingtian from his position as city lord. The person who knelt down and called for the dismissal of Yang Dingtian from his position as city lord was Yun Tianhe, the third most powerful force in Cloud Sky City's territory, Leying Valley's Valley Master. This person looked elegant, but he was very scheming. After Yang Dingtian won the city lord's grand duel, he was the most diligent person in colluding with the feudal lords to oppose Yang Dingtian. Later, when Dongfang Bingling personally came to Cloud Sky City to support Yang Dingtian, he secretly sent a messenger to express his goodwill. At this time, he was the first to jump out and step on Yang Dingtian. Following his words, all the feudal lords said in unison, "We beg the Tiando League and the Council of Elders to immediately dismiss Yang Dingtian from his position as city lord." At this time, Yang Dingtian was actually being pushed down by everyone. However, their actions didn't make Yang Yan happy. Yang Yan wanted Yang Dingtian dead, not just to abdicate. In fact, even if all the feudal lords in Cloud Sky City rebelled, the Yang family's personal army rebelled, and even the Council of Elders of Cloud Sky City opposed, they still wouldn't be able to oust Yang Dingtian from his position as city lord. The only power that had the power to oust Yang Dingtian was the Tiando League. Moreover, it was the Tiando League headquarters, not the northwest branch of the Tiando League. Only when the Yinyang School and the Black Heavens sect spoke out for Yang Dingtian to step down would the Council of Elders of Cloud Sky City have the power to begin the process of removing Yang Dingtian from his position. At this time, the Yang family's personal army and the feudal lords of Cloud Sky City had formed an alliance to try and oust Yang Dingtian from his position after the battle. It was completely daydreaming. Not to mention, most of the basic warriors in the 20,000-strong army supported Yang Dingtian. Even among the dozens of Tiando League observers present, many of them stood on Yang Dingtian's side because of Dongfang Bingling. As expected, Yang Yan and the rest didn't say anything. The leader of the Tiando League observers said coldly, "Impudent. How can the position of Cloud Sky City City Lord be abolished by you? Are you trying to rebel?" Yang Yan stood up abruptly and stared at Yang Zhu and Shapadian. He said sternly, "What are you doing? Are you trying to rebel? Leave immediately and get out of here. And all of you, get up." Then, Yang Yan pointed at the other feudal lords kneeling on the ground and shouted. Once Yang Yan was angry, the Tiando League observers were also angry. Instantly, all the feudal lords present were embarrassed. Yang Zhu and Shapadian looked at Yang Dingtian and sneered. They stood up and walked out. "Wait." Yang Dingtian slowly walked towards Yang Zhu. "Do you have anything else to say?" Yang Zhu and Shapadian laughed disdainfully. "Shapadian, you are a feudal lord. I have no right to do anything to you. You can leave now." Yang Dingtian stared at Yang Zhu and said coldly, "But Yang Zhu, you are a high-ranking military official of Cloud Sky City. You actually want to oust the city lord? Is this rebellion? Do you know? Is that so?" Yang Zhu sneered. "What is the crime of rebellion? Do you know?" Yang Dingtian said. "Rebellion is a crime punishable by death." Yang Zhu's voice was very low. Only Yang Dingtian could hear him. He sneered and said, "But so what? Can you find a single person here to obey your orders? I think you don't need to be a city lord like this. Alright, if you want to show off, I won't accompany you. I'm going to drink with my brothers and play with those women in Rose Villa." After saying this, Yang Zhu turned and left. He was clear about Yang Yan's plan to get rid of Yang Dingtian. Therefore, he had already treated Yang Dingtian as a dead man. Looking at Yang Zhu's back and the sneer on his face, Yang Dingtian directly pulled out his golden soul sword. Yang Yan said in shock, "Yang Dingtian, stop." However, it was too late. Yang Dingtian's sword slashed out like lightning. Yang Zhu's head flew into the sky with a sneer. The speed at which Yang Dingtian chopped off his head was so fast that Yang Zhu was still able to make a horrified expression when his head was chopped off. Yang Zhu rebelled. "Execute him on the spot." Yang Dingtian caught Yang Zhu's severed head and raised it high. He shouted, "All the conspirators of the Yang clan's personal army will be executed." Swish 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 swish, immediately, Yang Zheng and Yen Bieli pulled out their swords. Shapadian of the Iron Sword sect also pulled out his sword. Nearly 100 Cloud Heaven City's feudal vassals and military officials drew their swords and instantly surrounded Yang Dingtian. All the sharp swords were pointed at Yang Dingtian. Everyone looked at Yang Yan. As long as he gave the order, they would immediately rush up and tear Yang Dingtian into pieces. Yang Yan's eyes were cold as he stared at Yang Dingtian's severed head. The muscles on his face twitched. The sharp sword in his hand was slowly pulled out. The battle between both parties was about to start. Chapter 361. Why? Are you rebelling? Suddenly, the Tiando League's observer stood up and said coldly, "You can either kill all of us or wait for me to return to the Tiando League headquarters and expel Cloud Heaven City from the Tiando League. Then, form an alliance and annihilate all of you." Instantly, the entire place fell into silence. The situation that was like surging lava froze in an instant. Of all the forces in the entire Primal Chaos continent, unless it was an ambitious giant like the Northwest Qin City, no one dared to offend the Tiando League's observer. The muscles on Yang Yan's face twitched as he pulled out his sword and shouted, "Are you rebelling? Are you going against your superiors? Then, kill me first." After he finished speaking, Yang Yan held his sword and walked in front of Yang Dingtian. Then, Madame Shimin, Jiao Liao, Yin Bieli, Yang Zheng, Zhua Boning, Ren Duansong, and the rest of Cloud Heaven City's elders all held their swords and protected Yang Dingtian in the middle. From the looks of it, they were a group of people united as one. "Still not putting down your weapons?" Yang Yan shouted. Instantly, the 100 people present all sheathed their swords. "Still not kneeling down and asking for punishment from the city lord?" Yang Yan shouted. However, no one knelt down. All the vassals looked up at the sky in an unyielding manner. "He he." Suddenly, Iron Sword Sect's Sha Padian said, "Great Elder, and all the lords of the Tiando League. We don't dare to rebel against our superiors, but we can't kneel down and support this bullshit city lord either. The Tiando League can't chop off our heads just because we don't kneel, right?" Although Sha Padian insulted Yang Dingtian, the Tiando League's observer couldn't do anything about it. "Who asked you, the city lord of Cloud Heaven City, to not have enough prestige to intimidate your subordinates? If the Tiando League had to stand up for you, then wouldn't the Tiando League have to feed you and change your diapers?" Immediately, the Heavenly Law Alliance's observer returned to his seat and closed his eyes to rest. "City Lord, these people are rude. Please don't lower yourself to their level." Yang Dingtian bowed to Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian smiled faintly and said, "Of course I won't lower myself to their level. But as I said earlier, all those who participated in the plundering will be executed. Now, beheading Yang Zhu alone was far from enough. Capture the rest of them and punish them according to the law. Give the citizens of Cloud Sky City an explanation." As soon as these words came out, everyone's expression changed. Was Yang Dingtian crazy? Just now, everyone was trying to get you to step down. Fortunately, the Tiando League's observers stopped them. But instead of taking advantage of the situation, you even tried to kill the other members of the Yang Consortium's personal army. Are you crazy or stupid? At this moment, Yin Bieli from the disciplinary pavilion said, "City Lord, this isn't appropriate, right? You just finished a war, and you want to point your butcher's knife at your own people?" Yang Dingtian replied, "Yin Bieli, you are the disciplinary pavilion elder of Cloud Sky City. Back then, Yin Shimin didn't kill anyone, but you wanted her to be punished according to the law. Now, some of the Yang Consortium's personal army had committed the crime of plundering and humiliating a woman. Yet, you want to let them go. Is this how you act as the disciplinary pavilion elder?" Once these words came out, Yin Bieli's old face instantly changed. He said coldly, "Humph. I don't need you to tell me how I act as the disciplinary pavilion elder. When you were still wetting your bed, I was already the disciplinary pavilion elder. Yang Dingtian, everyone has to give you some face. You are the Cloud Sky City Lord. If we don't give you face, you are nothing." Immediately after, Yin Bieli said, "And Yang Dingtian, you keep saying that the Yang Consortium's personal army committed the crime of plundering and raping. Who saw it? Do you have proof? Everyone here, did anyone see the Yang Consortium's personal army plundering and humiliating a woman?" "No." Everyone present burst into laughter. Immediately after, a wretched voice echoed, "I didn't see the Yang Consortium's personal army plundering and plundering. Instead, I saw City Lord Yang Dingtian secretly touching the legs of Li Zhongjian's concubine in Rose Manor." Once these words came out, everyone present burst into laughter. Madame Shimin and the Jiao Liao's faces instantly turned ugly. Oh? Yen Bieli asked, who saw it? Instantly, there was silence. No one dared to step out. Don't worry, City Lord Yang Dingtian will not take this opportunity to take revenge, Yen Bieli said. Then, a skinny man walked out. Oh, it's you. Red River Valley's Zhu Sanbao. Yen Bieli said, you did see it. Do you dare to testify in front of everyone? Red River Valley was one of the smallest feudal vassals in Cloud Sky City's territory. It only had a territory of 3 to 4 miles. This time, they only had around 100 men following the army. Furthermore, he wasn't a direct subordinate of Cloud Sky City. He was a direct subordinate of Iron Sword Sect. I dare. Zhu Sanbao said, I saw it clearly. There were a lot of people and it was very chaotic. I saw City Lord Yang Dingtian taking advantage of Li Zhongjian's concubine while comforting her. That concubine seemed to be in a lot of pain, and she was even limping when she walked. Yen Bieli looked at Yang Dingtian, City Lord, if a prince breaks the law, he will be punished like a commoner. However, this is after the war. I hope that after returning to Cloud Sky City, you can make a trip to the disciplinary pavilion and explain everything clearly. This group of people was completely stirring shit up. Yang Dingtian wanted to behead the Yang Consortium's personal army. They just wanted to splash the shit on Yang Dingtian. They didn't really want to convict Yang Dingtian of any crime. They just wanted to disgust him. Yang Dingtian looked at Yang Yen and said, Grand Elder, a portion of the Yang Consortium's personal army committed the crime of plundering. How do you think we should deal with them? Yang Yen said coldly, City Lord, you killed Yang Zhu without permission, which is already a huge taboo. What else do you want? For a moment, the two of them faced each other coldly and didn't back down. Yang Zheng snorted and let out a sneer. He was mocking Yang Dingtian. He obviously didn't have a single soldier, but he was still putting on airs. Right at this moment, a person suddenly rushed in and shouted, Report. Yang Yan's expression relaxed. He didn't want to have a blank confrontation with Yang Dingtian. He wanted to kill Yang Dingtian and not lose face. Speak. Yang Yan said. That person said, We have found Tianluo Mo Sha and his 2 elders. Yang Yan asked with delight, Where? In a cave 30 miles away. That person replied. Only Tianluo Mo Sha and his 2 elders. Yang Yan asked. Also Manor Master Li Zhongjian, his wife, and his 2 sons. They were all taken hostage by Tianluo Mo Sha. That person said, One of our patrols discovered them and didn't dare to act rashly. The captain watched from afar and sent me to report. You did well. Yang Yan said, Men, reward him with 10 gold coins. Thank you, Grand Elder. That person said. Yang Yan immediately looked at Yang Dingtian and said, City Lord, evil must be done. Not to mention that Tianluo Mo Sha's blood debt, if he escapes, we won't be able to end this battle perfectly. For Li Zhongjian's sake, we must save him. After all, Li Zhongjian is the only one who knelt down and pledged loyalty to you. Grand Elder, what do you think? Yang Dingtian asked. Yang Yan said, Tianluo Mo Sha is seriously injured and his cultivation must have decreased greatly. His 2 elders are only ordinary martial saints. I suggest that you lead all the elders of Cloud Sky City to kill Tianluo Mo Sha and save Li Zhongjian and his family. When Yang Yan said this, his gaze was fixed on Yang Dingtian. The 100 or so marquises also stared at Yang Dingtian. Although they didn't know the story behind this, they could instinctively feel a killing intent and danger. Yang Dingtian also stared at Yang Yan. Without a doubt, the final battle between him and Yang Yan had arrived. Yang Dingtian asked the messenger, The cave 30 li away, is it an ordinary cave? What's its name? Sunset Cave Abode. The messenger said. Sunset. Sun is sun. Sunset Cave Abode, wouldn't that be where Yang Dingtian would die? Just like the romance of the Three Kingdoms, Chick Fong died at the falling phoenix slope. Madame Shimin pulled Yang Dingtian's sleeve, her gaze serious. Without a doubt, this trip to the so-called Sunset Cave abode, between Yang Dingtian and Yang Yen, only one of them could return alive. Furthermore, no matter who died there, it could be said that they died in the hands of Tian Luo and Mo Sha, and there wouldn't be any responsibility. All right. Yang Dingtian nodded at Yang Yen and said loudly, all the elders present, follow me to the Sunset Cave abode. We will kill Tian Luo and Mo Sha and save Li Zhongjian. Yes. Everyone present shouted in unison, and it was like thunder, filled with determination. Then, Yang Dingtian took the lead while Madame Shimin, Zhao Liao, Yang Yen, Yang Zheng, Yen Bieli, Zhou Boning, and Ren Duansong followed closely behind. They left the main hall and mounted their horses. The group quickly galloped towards the Sunset Cave abode that was 30 li away. At this moment, the leading observer of the Tiando League suddenly opened his eyes and sighed. He said to the observer beside him, Yang Dingtian is doomed. The observer beside him said, if he wants to court death, no one can stop him. We are not related to him. We just have to do our duty. The Northwest Qin city is not that easy to offend. After all, the Yinyang school is too far away. The leading observer nodded helplessly and closed his eyes again. The distance of 30 li was very short. Yang Dingtian and the rest arrived quickly. They also saw the patrolling cavalry that discovered Tian Luo and Mo Sha. All of you, leave this place immediately. Yang Yen ordered. Yes. The leader of the patrolling cavalry led his men and left quickly. Yang Dingtian and the rest continued to gallop and arrived at the bottom of a mountain. The so-called Sunset Cave abode was a few hundred meters above the mountain. Yang Dingtian, the moment has finally arrived. Let's go. Yang Yen said. All right, let's go. Yang Dingtian said. Then, he took Yao Rao from Madame Shimin and carried it on his back. Whoosh 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 whoosh, everyone soared into the sky and spread their mystic chi wings, flying a few hundred meters above the ground. Immediately, they could clearly see that at the entrance of the cave, Tian Luo and Mo Sha and two elders were sitting there neatly. Li Zhongjian, as well as his wife and two sons, were all lying in the cave. It was unknown whether they were dead or alive. Whoosh 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 whoosh, Yang Dingtian and the rest flew into the cave and landed in front of Tian Luo and Mo Sha. Tian Luo and Mo Sha slowly opened his eyes and looked at Yang Dingtian. You're here. At this moment, Tian Luo and Mo Sha seemed to have completely changed into a different person. Although his face was still ugly, he no longer had the ferocious beast from before. Instead, he looked dignified and quiet. At this moment, Tian Luo and Mo Sha did not look like a barbarian beast, but like a martial arts expert. The wildness and ruthlessness from before had completely disappeared. Yang Dingtian nodded at him. Tian Luo and Mo Sha looked at Zhao Liao and said, you're here too. Originally, Tian Luo and Mo Sha looked at Zhao Liao with evil eyes. But at this moment, his eyes were as calm as water. We're here to kill you, Zhao Liao said coldly. Tian Luo and Mo Sha smiled faintly, then bowed and said, Master, Yang Dingtian and the rest are here. Then, Tian Luo and Mo Sha got up respectfully, then knelt at the side. A young master in snow-white clothes slowly walked out. He was Qin Huayu. Behind him was Shimin Ju with a ferocious and ugly face, his entire body shrouded in darkness. That's right, it was Shimin Ju. He did not die at all. Qin Huayu stepped forward and said to Yang Dingtian, Junior apprentice brother Yang, you're here. Come, go in and sit. Okay. Yang Dingtian. Then, he followed Qin Huayu into the cave and sat down in front of a stone table. At this moment, there was a sumptuous banquet on the table. It was still hot. It was prepared in a hurry, so it's not too sumptuous. Please forgive me. Qin Huayu poured a cup of wine for Yang Dingtian, saying, this should be your last meal. Although you and I are enemies, I admire you very much. So, before I send you off, I have to treat you well no matter what. Then, Qin Huayu drank it in one gulp. Yang Dingtian took the cup, looked at it carefully for a while, then drank it in one gulp. Qin Huayu said to Yang Yan, Great Elder, did you test it? Can Yang Dingtian be killed? Yang Yan stepped forward and bowed, saying, Yes. We first killed Sha Zhen and the other 3 to gain his temporary trust. But we were worried that he would not follow me to assassinate Tianluo Mo Sha, so we pretended to kill Shimanju to gain his trust. He really did follow us to kill Tianluo Mo Sha. Under the destructive power of Tianluo Mo Sha, if Yang Hongyi on his back was really some expert, she would definitely have made a move. The situation was very dangerous at that time. Tianluo Mo Sha's palm was very powerful. Yang Hongyi did not make a move, which means she is not some mysterious expert. Yang Dingtian could not help but glance at Shimanju. No wonder Yang Yan and the rest chased after Shimanju for more than 10 meters and killed him at a corner. So they pretended to kill him, afraid of revealing any flaws. And the so-called assassination of Tianluo Mo Sha was just to test whether Yang Hongyi was a real expert. They felt that under the threat of Tianluo Mo Sha's death, if Yang Hongyi was really some expert, she would definitely have made a move. In the end, not only did Yang Hongyi not make a move, she was hit by Tianluo Mo Sha's palm wind, her life and death unknown. This old man does not know where this Yang Hongyi came from, but she is not a threat. That is why I dared to bring Yang Dingtian here to see you. Yang Yan said. N. Qin Huayu nodded, then said to Yang Dingtian, Junior brother Yang, don't blame me for being afraid of death. It's just that the woman behind you is of unknown origin. I am really afraid you have some trump card. If you don't, then that's for the best. I will definitely take Cloud Heaven City, and I will definitely kill you. Then I'm sorry. Qin Huayu toasted Yang Dingtian again and said, Before you die, do you have any words to say? Yang Dingtian pointed at Tianluo Mo Sha and said, He is one of your people. Qin Huayu nodded and said, That's right. When he was exiled from the Sunset Mountain Range, he wandered into my territory and was captured by me. After torturing him for a while, he became my personal guard. This person is a martial arts fanatic. Previously, he was tied down by many desires, so his cultivation was not fast. Now that I have castrated him, his cultivation has advanced by leaps and bounds. People say that people with Yang Xian veins need sufficient Yang Qi, but I don't think so. The Qi Si and Xian veins do not have much to do with the physical body. Tianluo Mo Sha was actually castrated. No wonder he did not have much of a reaction when he saw Jiao Liao. Then, when Yang Dingtian went to assassinate him, it was obvious that he was fooling around with a woman in full swing. Yang Dingtian said, In order to kill me, Qin Huayu, you actually led the barbarian tribe from the Sunset Mountain Range into Cloud Heaven City's territory, causing my territory to be plunged into misery and suffering. Tens of thousands of people died. Isn't that a bit too much? Qin Huayu curled his lips and said, They are just ants. I admire your junior brother Yang from the bottom of my heart. Of course, I will find tens of thousands of people to accompany you in death. After all, you are a big shot. Qin Huayu drank another cup of wine and said, All right, enough chit-chat. Send Yang Dingtian on his way. Yes. Tianluo Mo Sha stood up and walked in front of Yang Dingtian, raising his black staff. Wait a moment. Yang Dingtian said, I want to know, how will you arrange Yang Yan and Yang Zheng? Qin Huayu smiled and said, Black Blood Castle will be handed over to Shimanju, and Yang Zheng will be the city lord. But I have to tell the world that Cloud Heaven City will completely submit to my Northwest Qin City after tonight. In the future, Yang Zheng and Shiman Yanyan's son will be sent to my Northwest Qin City as a hostage. Yang Dingtian looked at Yang Yan and said, Your so-called love for Cloud Heaven City is nothing more than this. Yang Yan's gaze trembled and said, A wise man submits to circumstances. Qin Huayu stood up and threw the cup on the table, saying, All right, don't waste time. Tianluo, Send Yang Dingtian on his way. Tian Luo Mo Sha's eyes suddenly focused and instantly turned blood red. All the Xian Qi in his body suddenly condensed. In an instant, a blood-red black Qi emerged from his huge body. An incomparably powerful force instantly enveloped the entire cave. The energy pressure coming from Tian Luo Mo Sha's body was completely like the pressure of Mount Tai. Yang Yen looked at Yang Dingtian and said coldly, "When I go back, I will tell everyone in Cloud Heaven City that you died at the hands of the barbarian tribe's leader, Tian Luo Mo Sha. You died very bravely. I will call on all the Cloud Heaven City disciples to learn from you." Yang Dingtian stood up and said indifferently, "No need." Then, he patted Yao Rao on his back and said, "All right, no need to act. We can start killing. The barbarian tribe is really a good excuse. No matter who you kill, you can stuff it in. Hee hee." Yao Rao let out a coquettish sound, then slid down from Yang Dingtian's back. Then, an incomparably powerful energy spread out in an instant, instantly suppressing Tian Luo Mo Sha's aura. Qin Huayu's expression changed greatly. Yang Yan's expression changed greatly. Yang Zheng's expression changed greatly. Master? Master-level powerhouse? Yang Yan pointed at Yao Rao, trembling in disbelief. "That's right." Yang Dingtian nodded and said, "Yang Yan, Yang Zheng, you can die now." Chapter 362. All of you, die in peace. I will tell everyone that you died at the hands of Tian Luo Mo Sha. You died very bravely and perished together with Tian Luo Mo Sha, Yang Dingtian continued. Suddenly, Yang Yan staggered and took 2 steps back. He looked at Yang Dingtian and Yao Rao in disbelief. "Impossible, this is impossible." Yang Yan couldn't help but tremble. "Okay, you can go now," Yang Dingtian said. At this moment, Qin Huayu suddenly coughed and said, "Yang Dingtian, if I'm not wrong, this should be the mystic-tailed demon fox, Yao Rao. She has been imprisoned in the dungeon of Cloud Sky City for more than 10 years. When Qin Huayu said this, not only Yang Dingtian, but even Madame Shimon's expression changed drastically. "There's no need to make such an expression," Qin Huayu said. "Back then, when we were chasing this 1,000-year-old fox, my father was also present. When I was plotting against Cloud Sky City, my father reminded me many times to be careful of this 1,000-year-old fox in the dungeon." Of course, when he said to be careful, he didn't mean that Yao Rao would stir up trouble or something like that. He said that after I took control of Cloud Sky City, I shouldn't go see this 1,000-year-old fox out of curiosity and act as if I didn't know about her existence at all. This fox's identity is too special. She is the public enemy of the world. If I were to provoke her, the consequences would be unimaginable. Then, Qin Huayu said, "However, my father said very firmly that Yao Rao is trapped in a formation and no one in this world can release her. I really didn't expect that you would actually release her. How did you do it? I can't imagine at all. Even my father can't release her." Then, Qin Huayu sighed and said, "Although I thought that you wouldn't be able to release her, I am a person who takes every conceivable possibility into account. Just in case, I still made the relevant preparations. Uncle Buxing, it's time for you to come out." Suddenly, a languid middle-aged man in ragged clothes slowly walked out. As he walked, he yawned. His eyes were blurred and his face was dispirited, as if he could never sleep enough. Qin Buxing was one of Cloud Sky City's secret experts. Although he had awakened Qin, he didn't have any blood relations with Qin Wanchou. He had only been bestowed with the surname Qin. This person only had 2 things, martial arts and fine wine. However, most of the people in this world only vaguely knew that Qin Buxing was a master realm expert. Basically, no one knew his exact cultivation level. After all, there were not many opportunities for the Northwest Qin City to require a Grandmaster-level powerhouse. Master stage experts were almost the top experts in this world. Therefore, no force would have too many Grandmaster-level experts, including the Northwest Qin City. In the entire Northwest Qin City, on the surface, there were only 5 people at the Grandmaster level. This time, Qin Shichi swept through the southwest continent and took away 2. The northwest Qin city's vast territory was guarded by 2 Grandmasters. As for Qin Buxing, he was brought over by Qin Huayu. It could be seen that in order to smoothly eliminate Yang Dingtian this time, Qin Huayu had practically spared no effort. Qin Huayu looked at Yao Rao and said, when this demon fox was in human form, she should only be a 3-star Grandmaster. Martial Uncle Buxing is a 5-star Grandmaster. Although he can't kill her because he can't, it's enough to suppress her. The remaining Tianluo Masha should be more than enough to kill you, Yang Dingtian. Of course, it's also more than enough to capture Yang Peipei and present her to my father. Yang Dingtian ignored Qin Huayu's insulting words and pointed at Yao Rao beside him. He suddenly laughed and said, "You think she's Yao Rao? You're really imaginative. First of all, do you think I can control a 1,000-year demon fox? Second, Yao Rao is a black-tailed demon fox. In a year, she can only transform into human form for a very short period of time. This period basically doesn't exceed a day. Do you think I have the ability to control her in human form? Also, you said that even your father can't control Yao Rao, let alone me. Do you think I'm stronger than your father?" At this moment, a trace of suspicion flashed through Qin Huayu's eyes. Indeed, as Yang Dingtian said, there was no one in this world who could control a 1,000-year demon fox. Second, there was no one in this world who could control a demon fox in human form. If it's not Yao Rao, then who can it be? Qin Huayu laughed. With your intelligence, you should be able to think of it. Yang Dingtian said, 2 months ago, where did I just come from? Netherworld Sea? Qin Huayu said. Yes, Netherworld Sea. Yang Dingtian said, there, I did 2 things. First, I defeated Song Yu. Second, I saved the most outstanding female disciple of Netherworld Sea. I have something that can almost bring the dead back to life. You should have heard of it. So as a reward, I got 3 years of time from Netherworld Sea's most outstanding female disciple. These 3 years, she has to follow me and be controlled by me. Moreover, this is the recognition of Netherworld Sea's master, Wu Yu. Hearing the 2 words Wu Yu, Qin Huayu's face trembled slightly, and said, you got the recognition of Wu Yu? No? In fact, Sect Master Wu Yu wants nothing more than to crush me to death with a finger, but his disciple lost. As a big shot, he couldn't bear it, so he could only accept this matter. Yang Dingtian said, maybe after 3 years, Sect Master Wu Yu won't even need to do anything. This Yang Hongyi will directly cut off my head. Hee. Yao Rao laughed, that won't happen. At most, I'll just castrate you. Qin Huayu's face suddenly became gloomy, and then he said coldly, you think I'll believe that? She is Yao Rao. She can hide her appearance, but she can't hide her soul-sucking eyes. You still want to use Netherworld Sea to scare me away? Dream on. Then, Qin Huayu said coldly, Yao Rao is a 1,000-year-old demon fox, the public enemy of the world. You actually dared to let her go without permission. You are making an enemy of the entire Tiando League. When she is in her beast form, she is almost invincible. I don't care how you fixed Yao Rao in her human form, but you are courting death. If I cripple her, I'm afraid even Dongfang Bingling will thank me. Finally, Qin Huayu said to Qin Buxing, Martial Uncle, you can do it. You don't have to be merciful. This demon fox is only a 3-star Grandmaster in her human form. She is far from being your opponent. Qin Buxing opened his lazy eyes, and then pulled out a rusty sword. He looked at Yao Rao and said, you keep saying that you are not a demon fox. Then let's see. Yao Rao is a 3-star Grandmaster. Don't tell me you are also one. If you are, then even if I cripple you, you deserve to be unlucky. Yang Dingtian's heart suddenly turned cold. Yao Rao was a 9-star Grandmaster in her beast form. But when she was in her human form, her cultivation was only 1%. She was indeed a 3-star Grandmaster. If that was the case, then he was really in danger. The more serious consequences were that if people knew that Yang Dingtian had released Yao Rao, then the consequences would be unimaginable. Okay. Yao Rao said in a sweet voice, and then pulled out a treasured sword that looked like autumn water. Qin Buxing raised the rusty sword and looked at Yao Rao. You are very attractive. Any man in the world will fall in love with you. But unfortunately, I can't fall in love because I was castrated when I was very young. So, I will definitely not be merciful. When the time comes, I will either destroy your face or cut open your stomach. Don't blame me. If you have the ability, I won't blame you. Yao Rao smiled. Please. Hongyi. Yang Dingtian immediately looked at Yao Rao. He was also clear about Yao Rao's cultivation. She had never broken through to the 4-star Grandmaster level, and Qin Buxing was a 5-star Grandmaster. At the Grandmaster level, the difference of one level was almost like the difference between heaven and earth, let alone 2 levels. If he really made a move, Yao Rao would really be in danger. The child in Yao Rao's stomach would also be in danger. Don't be so wishy-washy. I know what to do, Yao Rao said, and then said to Qin Buxing, okay, no bird, you can do it. Qin Buxing's facial muscles twitched, and the rusty sword in his hand gently slashed. The move was extremely vicious, and it directly slashed below Yao Rao's energy reserve. Ever since he was castrated when he was young, he liked to attack that part of people, regardless of whether the opponent was a man or a woman. His sword move was completely ordinary. There was no change in the world, no flash of the sword, just a gentle slash. However, it was just a gentle slash. It made a pine tree a few miles away tremble slightly, and then all the leaves on it fell in an instant. Yao Rao looked at the sword that was slashing towards her and smiled coldly. The autumn water sword in her hand also slashed gently, blocking Qin Buxing's rusty sword in the air. Clang! The two swords collided, and there was a soft crisp sound. Even sparks did not sputter out. Whoosh! The iron sword in Qin Buxing's hand suddenly flashed a black shadow, and the rust on the sword instantly shot out and scattered cleanly, revealing the fiery red sword body. This was a treasured sword, and it was a treasured sword from ancient times. It was just that Qin Buxing had put on an act and made it look rusty. After the rust flew away, Qin Buxing's body suddenly shook and flew more than 10 meters away. The scattered rust burned fiercely in the air, turning into a firework. Wherever the firework passed, everything was destroyed and turned into ashes. The sound of the two swords lightly vibrating and colliding spread out. Puff! All the martial venerables present all spat out a mouthful of blood. 2 miles away, a group of eagles descended from the sky and pounced on a group of wild sheep on the ground. Suddenly, it was as if they were hit by an invisible thing. Puff! This group of eagles a few miles away was instantly smashed into pieces, turning into a mass of flesh and blood that splashed in the air. Yao Rao gently swung the sword in her hand and said to Qin Huayu, I'm telling you, I'm not the mysterious-tailed demon fox Yao Rao, understand? Qin Huayu's face trembled slightly as he nodded and said, understood. Yang Dingtian was also shocked at this time. Yao Rao's cultivation was clearly not at the level of a 4-star Grandmaster. How could she defeat a 5-star Grandmaster? This was completely impossible. How could such a thing happen? Qin Huayu quickly calmed down and looked at Yang Dingtian, you really do have a trump card? Then, what do you want now? I have to tell you, you can't kill me. Although Yang Hongyi by your side is a little stronger than martial uncle Qin Buxing, it's only by a little. Not to mention, I have a Tian Luo Masha who is close to the level of a Grandmaster. If we really fight, you won't have the upper hand. Basically, you, Madame Shiman, and Zhao Liao will all die without a doubt. Yang Dingtian nodded and said, I know, Qin Buxing can hold Yang Hongyi back. Then, me, mother-in-law and Zhao Liao will barely be able to fight Tian Luo Masha, not to mention Yang Yen, Yang Zheng, and the others. So, it can be said that this battle will be evenly matched, and both sides will suffer. It's good that you know. Qin Huayu said, then, what do you want from me by risking your life to come here? Yang Dingtian said, to negotiate with you, to persuade you to give up Cloud Sky City and withdraw all the forces that have infiltrated it. Give Yang Yan, Yang Zheng, and Yan Bili to me for execution. Bring Zhou Boning, Ren Duansong, and Shimen Ju back to your northwest Qin city. After Yang Dingtian finished speaking, Qin Huayu was stunned for a moment, then burst into laughter. Yang Dingtian, are you crazy or stupid? Qin Huayu laughed and said, today, you have a 5-star grandmaster by your side. If we fight with you, both sides will suffer. Then, let's not fight. I can at least retreat safely. When I return to the northwest Qin city, I will bring another grandmaster here. It will be easy to eliminate you. That's right, I don't want to offend the Sea of Hades for no reason. But if the people from the Sea of Hades provoke my northwest Qin city, then I won't be polite. If I don't go to their South Sea, they can forget about causing trouble in my northwest. Even if I kill this Yang Hongyi, you will have nothing to say. The Sea of Hades is a huge monster to your Cloud Sky City, and you won't dare to offend them. But to the northwest Qin city, it's just that. Qin Huayu smiled and returned to the table. He poured himself a cup of wine and said, Qin Shiqi will take the southwest, and I will take the northwest. There are 2 nails in the northwest. One is Cloud Sky City, and the other is White Cloud City. For Cloud Sky City, how much effort have I put in? How many people have I infiltrated into your territory? How many people have I bribed? Do you think I will give up? Give up because of a few words from you? Dream on. I won't gain any advantage from fighting with you today. We are leaving. In a few days, we will bring 2 grandmasters to eliminate you. After saying that, Qin Huayu, Qin Buxing, and the others were about to leave. Wait. Yang Dingtian said, let's talk again. No, there's no room for discussion. Qin Huayu smiled and said, moreover, I don't talk to idiots, nor do I talk to idiots. Even more so, I don't talk to people who don't know their own limits. Yang Dingtian smiled and said, how about this? I won't let Qin Shiqi take the southwest, at least not in a short period of time. How about that? You and Qin Shiqi fight for the northwest Qin city lord position, and I will fully support you. How about that? After I take control of Cloud Sky City, I will go to your northwest Qin city and pay tribute. How about that? As soon as he said that, the entire cave fell into silence. Everyone looked at Yang Dingtian in disbelief. Especially Yang Yan, Yang Zheng, and even Madame Shimen. They all looked at Yang Dingtian in shock. They didn't expect Yang Dingtian to make such an offer. After Qin Huayu recovered from his shock, he laughed loudly. Then, his expression turned cold and he said, sorry, I don't talk to people who don't know their own limits. You want to talk to me about this? Do you take me for a fool? Do you think you can do it? Of course I can do it, Yang Dingtian said resolutely. Good. Qin Huayu smiled coldly and said, the first thing is, how are you going to stop Qin Shiqi from taking the southwest? I can tell you that he has already taken 80% of it. He will sweep through the entire southwest like a hot knife through butter. I ask you, how are you going to stop him? Very simple. Yang Dingtian said, the key to the southwest is Sky Phoenix Pavilion. Qin Shiqi swept through the southwest because of Sky Phoenix Pavilion's loyalty. I can clearly see that Sky Phoenix Pavilion master supports Qin Shiqi. She is cold and even disgusted with you. That's right. Even a blind person can see that, Qin Huayu said. As long as Sky Phoenix Pavilion betrays Qin Shiqi, then she won't be able to take the southwest. Even if she does, she won't be able to control it, Yang Dingtian said. Sky Phoenix Pavilion has no less than 3 master rank experts. Unless your father personally makes a move, Qin Shiqi alone won't be able to handle it. That's true. Qin Huayu said, however, if you want that old hag to betray Qin Shiqi, you're dreaming. I can tell you that the reason that old hag can become the pavilion master is all thanks to Qin Shiqi. Of course, I don't have the ability to make the current pavilion master, Leng Yanmei, betray Qin Chichi. However, we can kick her out of her position, Yang Dingtian said. How? Qin Huayu said, if I could kick her out, I would have done it long ago. I know that the original Sky Phoenix Pavilion Master, who is also your wife Ning Ro's master, Duan Rian, isn't dead. She's only crippled and imprisoned somewhere, right? Yes. Qin Huayu snorted casually. It's simple. Heal her and let her recover her cultivation. Yang Dingtian said, this way, she can rightfully take back the position of Sky Phoenix Pavilion Master. Moreover, she can label Leng Yanmei, who supports Qin Chichi, as a traitor and kill her. This way, Sky Phoenix Pavilion will support you and not Qin Chichi. Qin Huayu shook his head and said, stop dreaming. Duan Rian is completely crippled. She can't even sit up, let alone recover her cultivation. Yang Dingtian said, my wife Yan Yan was poisoned and her cultivation was destroyed. You should know that. Qin Huayu said, of course I know. The world's #1 poison, Darkness Crystal. It was originally prepared for Shimin Wuya, but it ended up in Shimin Yanyan's stomach. Her cultivation was destroyed, and her Xian meridians and Qi Si were completely withered. Even the Netherworld Sea couldn't do anything. However, Yan Yan has already recovered. Yang Dingtian said, I healed her. Impossible. Qin Huayu exclaimed. His face was filled with an unprecedented shock. Then, he looked at Shimin Ju. Shimin Ju nodded. Qin Huayu looked at Yang Dingtian in disbelief and said, impossible? How did you do it? This is impossible. What the Netherworld Sea couldn't do, I did. Yang Dingtian pointed at Yao Rao and said, this is the Netherworld Sea's most outstanding female disciple, Yang Hongyi. Her situation should be exactly the same as the original Sky Phoenix Pavilion Master, Duan Rian. Her Xian meridians were destroyed and her Qi Si shattered. She should have mistakenly entered another world gate. The Netherworld Sea couldn't do anything, but I healed her. Otherwise, with her status, how could she become a maid and stay by my side for 3 years? Qin Huayu immediately looked at Yang Hongyi. Yao Rao nodded. Qin Huayu took a deep breath and said, Junior brother Yang, even if you saved Duan Rian, it's useless. This woman's temper is stubborn and smelly. She won't submit. Even if you saved her, she won't submit to me. Don't worry, it's enough to let her oust Leng Yanmei first. At that time, Qin Chichi won't be able to control the southwest. Yang Dingtian said, next, if Duan Rian still doesn't listen, I can help you destroy her. Because when I saved her, I can leave a seed in her body. So, I can destroy her at any time. At that time, your wife, Ning Ro, will be the Sky Phoenix Pavilion Master. Impossible. Qin Huayu said, it was because she lost her virginity that her cultivation declined. Later, after she gave birth to a child, her cultivation almost completely disappeared. I can help her reconstruct her Xian meridians. Using Naga's Xian meridians crystal should be enough. Yang Dingtian said. Qin Huayu was stunned. He thought about it carefully. It really could be done. First, he would save Duan Rian and oust the current pavilion master, Leng Yanmei. This way, the Sky Phoenix Pavilion wouldn't be able to support Qin Chichi. This way, Qin Chichi wouldn't be able to control the southwest. This way, Qin Chichi and Qin Huayu would lose 10% of the battle for the northwest Qin City Lord position. Then, he could let Duan Rian be the pavilion master for a period of time. When Ning Ro was strong enough, he could destroy Duan Rian and push Ning Ro to the pavilion master position. Although it wouldn't be easy, he believed that Duan Rian would be willing to do it. Of course, Qin Huayu naturally didn't know that Yang Dingtian would help Ning Ro reconstruct her Xian meridians. It would be extremely intimate. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't agree even if he died. Okay, we'll consider the first one done. Qin Huayu said, then what about the second one? You said that you would fully support me in the battle for the Northwest Qin City Lord position with Qin Chi. Am I looking down on you? You alone can't support me much. I really want to know, how will you support me? I can make you stronger. I can tell you where the other Yang attribute Shen flame is. Yang Dingtian said, but before I tell you, I want Yang Yen and the others to die. Chapter 363. Note 1, Enchanting Rao is a 9-star martial grandmaster in her demonic beast form. When she is in her human form, her cultivation is at mid-level martial grandmaster. Qin Huayu shuddered when he heard that. His eyes shot out bright rays of light. Yang Dingtian said, because your father didn't allow Qin Chi to seize the southwest? Just when you returned from the Dongli grassland, your father allowed Qin Chi to attack the southwest? Because before that, in your father's heart, you were almost the only successor. Qin Chi might be cunning and intelligent, but she was still a woman. But she failed to seize the mystic flame in the Dongli grassland, which disappointed your father. Thus, he started to waver and placed his sights on Qin Chi. That was why Qin Chi led an army of 100,000 to attack the southwest. Qin Huayu's expression turned ugly. He nodded and said, that's right. Yang Dingtian stared at Qin Huayu and said, you lost one mystic flame. I will give you another one. You will get up from where you fell. Speak. Qin Huayu said, that mystic flame, where is it? Yang Dingtian frowned, at least show your sincerity. Then, Yang Dingtian pointed at Yang Yen, Yang Zheng, Yen Bieli, and the others, saying, I want them dead. Qin Huayu was stunned. Once the information about the mystic flame is revealed, it will be considered a huge reward. So you have to take out your bargaining chip. Yang Dingtian pointed at Yang Yen, Yang Zheng, and the others, saying, I want them dead. Qin Huayu was silent. Yang Dingtian repeated coldly, I want Yang Yen and the others dead. Qin Huayu's facial muscles relaxed slightly. He then laughed and said, Yang Dingtian, do you think I am a fool? Even if you tell me the location, how can I be sure that the mystic flame is there? Just based on this, you want me to kill Yang Yen and the others? Do you think I am a fool? Hongyi, use your energy to envelop me and Qin Huayu. Only Qin Huayu can hear what I say. Yang Dingtian said. Yang Hongyi replied indifferently. Subsequently, a powerful energy instantly enveloped Yang Dingtian and Qin Huayu. At this moment, the conversation between Yang Dingtian and Qin Huayu could only be heard by each other. What do you think about the location of the mystic flame? Yang Dingtian suddenly said, I'm talking about a heaven and earth mystic flame, not an ordinary mystic flame, let alone a random flame. Qin Huayu said, I'm talking about you. The million-spirit demonic flame is in the Dongli grasslands. In the Netherworld Sea, Songyu's icy heart heavenly flame is in the 10,000-li glacier. Yang Dingtian said, the million-spirit demon flame is near the celestial Red Sea, while the icy heart heavenly flame is near the northern fantasy land. What were these two places? Others might not know, but you should know. Qin Huayu's figure instantly shook, and he said, the World Gate. That's right, the Reality Gate. Yang Dingtian said, of course, it's a complete mystery to us as to which reality gates exist in this world. But currently, we know of 3. One is in the celestial Red Sea, one is in the extreme northern illusory land of the Great Northern Plains, and one is in the extreme western land of the Infernal Ocean. Your father's mystic flame comes from the Netherworld Impasse. My master's mystic flame comes from the Red Blood Sand Sea. Although their mystic flames are not inferior to heaven and earth mystic flames in terms of power, the mystic flames in these places are all solitary flames. They are either Yang mystic flames or Yin mystic flames. But the million-spirit demonic flame in the Dongli grasslands is not only divided into Yin and Yang, but also has a mirage void flame. The icy heart heavenly flame in the 10,000-mile glacier is also divided into Yin and Yang flames. What do you think we can see from this? Qin Huayu said, in this world, any continent over 10,000 miles can give birth to a mystic flame, but the chances are extremely slim. But near the reality gate, there will definitely be a mystic flame, and it will be a heaven and earth mystic flame, and there will be yin and yang flames. Yang Dingtian nodded. Qin Huayu took a deep breath and said, you said the other mystic flame is at the 10,000-mile glacier? Song Yutsai took the ice attribute mystic flame and left behind a yang mystic flame? No. Yang Dingtian said, the yang mystic flame in the 10,000-mile glacier has already been taken away by Wu Yu. You must have heard from Sect Master Qin about this terrifying character. He does not have yin and yang mystic flames, so no matter if it is a yin mystic flame or a yang mystic flame, he swallowed them all. At this point, Yang Dingtian suddenly thought of a terrifying possibility, and his body couldn't help but tremble. Then the other yang mystic flame that you mentioned is also near the reality gate? Qin Huayu asked. Yang Dingtian cast aside that terrifying thought and nodded at Qin Huayu. Where? Qin Huayu asked. Yang Dingtian said, 5,000 miles north of the Temple of Blood, Blood Swamp. There? Qin Huayu said with a trembling voice. That's right, there. Yang Dingtian said. Blood Swamp, a blood swamp with a radius of a few thousand miles. Compared to the Dongli grassland, this place might be even more mysterious and terrifying. This was because it was a forbidden area for the evil Dao. The Dongli grassland was at least the half-human race's territory, and Blood Swamp was considered a forbidden ground to the Temple of Blood. Yang Dingtian had been to the Temple of Blood before, but he definitely hadn't been to Blood Swamp. If there was a Shura purgatory in this world, it would probably look like Blood Swamp. Yang Dingtian, to be honest, I definitely didn't believe that you would tell me about the mystic flame. Qin Huayu said, even though you already have one mystic flame, who in this world would dislike having too many mystic flames? But when you told me that the mystic flame is in Blood Swamp, I believed it instead. Evil ways were forbidden grounds. Even Grandmaster experts would definitely die if they entered. Even my father didn't dare to barge in alone, let alone you. Yang Dingtian nodded and said, I wasn't arrogant enough to think that I could barge into Blood Swamp, but it might not be impossible for you. Because you have already formed an alliance with the Temple of Blood, right? Qin Huayu said, but this fragile alliance was almost destroyed by you in the Dongli grassland. I don't care. Yang Dingtian said, I believe that your Qin city can pay enough to let you enter Blood Swamp. Qin Huayu instantly fell into deep thought. At this moment, Yang Dingtian said, Hong Yi, you can remove the energy barrier now. N. Yao Rao responded faintly, and Yang Dingtian's head instantly relaxed. Qin Huayu looked at Yang Dingtian and said, the third condition is for your Cloud Heaven city to submit to me and pay tribute? Yang Dingtian nodded and said, I can formally apply to the Tiando League to personally lead Cloud Heaven City's diplomatic group to the Northwest Qin City. Under the witness of the Tiando League, I will formally submit to Qin City. In the future, if Qin City wants to attack, my Cloud Heaven City will also send troops. Qin Huayu said, if you do this, I'm afraid you will offend the Yin-Yang school. Yang Dingtian said, this is a matter of life and death. I can't care so much about it. Following that, Yang Dingtian said, Senior Brother Qin, the most important thing to you now is the mystic flame. Even more important is the position of Qin City's lord. You should be very clear about my talent. If you have my full support, you will have a huge advantage in the competition with Qin Chichi. But you and I have a grudge? Qin Huayu said. There is a grudge, but there is no enmity. Yang Dingtian said, there is no death grudge between us. You didn't kill my family or friends, and I didn't do anything unforgivable to you. Or to put it more directly, when I become strong enough in the future, I will definitely take Cloud Heaven City away from the Northwest Qin City's control. But do you think I will invade your Northwest Qin City? Where do you think my future focus will be? The Lord of Yin-Yang School, conquering Dongfang Bingling, Qin Huayu said directly. That's right. My goal is the Yin-Yang School and conquering Dongfang Bingling. Yang Dingtian said, so I don't have much interest in the Northwest Qin city. Of course, if I really take over the Inyang school one day, I might have a life and death battle with your Northwest Qin city. But that should be many years in the future. It won't hinder our cooperation now. Qin Huayu muttered to himself and fell into a life and death situation. Yang Dingtian continued, in order to show your sincerity, you can promise me nothing and don't do anything. Let me first treat Heavenly Phoenix Pavilion Master Duan Ruyan and help your wife Ning Ro, or reconstruct her profound veins. Qin Huayu slowly closed his eyes. Immediately, Yang Yan, Yang Zheng, Yen Bieli, and the others stared at Qin Huayu, unable to breathe. Because Qin Huayu's decision would determine their life and death. Qin Huayu kept his eyes closed. Yang Yan's body began to tremble. His beard and hair also began to tremble. His face began to turn pale and colorless. Qin Huayu opened his eyes and looked at Yang Dingtian. Senior brother Qin, Yang Dingtian shouted. Don't call me senior brother. Qin Huayu revealed an incomparably warm smile and stepped forward to hold Yang Dingtian's hand. He said to Qin Buxing and Tian Luo Mo Sha, remember, from today onwards, Yang Dingtian is my little brother and half your master. Once these words were spoken, Yang Yan's body trembled and his face turned ashen. Yang Dingtian smiled and shouted, Big brother Qin. Good little brother. Qin Huayu laughed and said, how about this, after the matters in Cloud Heaven City are settled, you will come with me to Qin City and we will become sworn brothers in public. No, we will be even closer. Jiao Jiao is my father's daughter of the first wife and the most respected daughter of my Qin city. I will report to my father and ask him to betroth Jiao Jiao to you and make her your concubine. This time, Yang Dingtian was shocked and Madame Shimon's delicate body also trembled. Qin Huayu actually pushed Qin Jiao Jiao out. That's right, Yang Dingtian looked down on Qin Jiao Jiao. Although she was also a great beauty, she couldn't compare to Yan Yan. The key point was that Yang Dingtian really didn't like her character and temper. But no matter what, Qin Jiao Jiao was still Qin Wanchou's daughter of the first wife and was unmarried. Unlike Shimin Ju's wife, who was not only a concubine's daughter but also remarried and even had a son with another man. A concubine was a madam, but in reality, she was a concubine. With Qin Jiao Jiao's status, if she put in a little effort, it would be enough for her to be the main wife of the successors of the three sections. But now, she was going to be Yang Dingtian's concubine. Qin Huayu was really putting in a lot of capital. In this world, Yang Dingtian's main wife was originally Dongfang Bingling, but she later broke off the marriage. Then, Yang Dingtian's main wife became Yan Shimin, and this main wife was the only one. Next, Yang Dingtian could have countless women, but they would all be concubines. As long as one had some status, it was impossible to give their daughter to someone else to be a concubine. What? Brother, do you dislike my younger sister? Qin Huayu asked. How would I dare? Yang Dingtian said, it's just that Qin Jiao Jiao is a blessed daughter of the heavens. It's really unreasonable for her to be my concubine. It's nothing. You're a blessed son of the heavens, and there's a high possibility that you'll be a supreme figure in the future. It's Jiao Jiao who's climbing up. Qin Huayu said, if there's no objection, then let's settle it. Okay. Yang Dingtian said. Qin Huayu took out 2 pieces of projection jade and placed his hand on one side of the projection jade while Yang Dingtian placed his palm on the other side. Northwest Qin City, Qin Huayu, hereby swears allegiance to Yang Dingtian, and on behalf of his father, Qin Wanchou, I betroth Qin City's legitimate daughter, Qin Jiao Jiao, to Yang Dingtian as a concubine. The two families are united, and we officially swear to never betray each other. Cloud Sky City's Yang Dingtian hereby swears allegiance to Qin Huayu, and will marry Northwest Qin City's legitimate daughter, Qin Jiao Jiao, as a concubine. The two families are united, and we officially swear to never betray each other. After the two of them finished their vows, they put their palms together. Instantly, the recording jades flashed, officially recording this short scene. In this world, there were many ways to make a vows, but the most sacred one was this recording contract. Once the contract was made, it would be regarded as never betraying the contract. Otherwise, they would be severely punished by the Tiando League. "Brother, from today onwards, you and I are a family," Qin Huayu said with a smile. Yang Dingtian greets big brother Qin. Yang Dingtian bowed. "Good, good." Qin Huayu smiled and handed one of the recording jades to Yang Dingtian, keeping the other one for himself. If he signed the Echo contract, then everything would be settled. At least for a long time, neither side would break the contract or else the price would be too high. After signing the contract, Yang Dingtian immediately looked at Yang Yen. "Brother, what follows will be your Cloud Heaven City's family matters. As an outsider, it's not good for me to interfere." Qin Huayu smiled and said, "How Yang Yen and the rest are dealt with is entirely up to you." His smile was very cultured and refined, but in the eyes of Yang Yen and Yang Zheng, it was indeed incomparably heartless and callous. The signing of this contract had completely sentenced these people to death. After speaking, Qin Huayu directly walked out. When he walked halfway, he suddenly turned around and said, "That's right, brother, Shimanju is my brother-in-law in the end, and also your brother-in-law. We are all a family. He has offended you in the past, so here, I will help you ask for a song." "I know, big brother Qin." Yang Dingtian smiled. "All right, then I shall not delay you from cleaning up the household. If there's anything you need help with, big brother is just outside." Qin Huayu said and immediately walked out. Shimanju and the rest hesitated for a moment before following him out. In an instant, only Yang Dingtian, Zhao Liao, Yao Rao, Yang Yen, Yang Zheng, and Yen Bieli were left in the cave dwelling. Neither side spoke first, and the cave was deathly silent. "Yang Dingtian, your shamelessness is far beyond my imagination." Yang Zheng suddenly said, "Where's your integrity and hot-bloodedness?" Yang Dingtian didn't bother with him. "Do you think Qin Huayu will really believe you?" Yang Zheng sneered and said, "Today, he abandoned us like a pair of worn-out shoes. Tomorrow, he will also betray and abandon you." Yang Dingtian still didn't bother with him. "Do you think I will beg you? Dream on." Yang Zheng roared, "Come and kill me, come and kill me. I will wait for you in the underworld, I will wait for you in hell." Then, Yang Zheng suddenly drew his sword and shouted, "Grand Elder, Yen Bieli, draw your weapons. We will fight to the death with them." Yang Yen looked at Yang Dingtian without any expression on his face. After hearing Yang Zheng's words, Yang Yen slowly drew his sword. Yao Rao's beautiful eyes focused as she drew her sword. Madame Shiman and Zhao Liao also drew their swords. The final battle between both sides was about to start. However, Yang Yen didn't fight. Instead, he held his sword with both hands and slowly knelt in front of Yang Dingtian. Sinner Yang Yen pays his respects to City Lord Yang. Yang Yen kowtowed respectfully and raised his sword up high. Yang Zheng was instantly enraged and said, "Yang Yen, why are you doing this? Before you die, do you still want to throw away the face of our Yang clan?" Madame Shiman, Yang Pei couldn't help but sneer and said, "It's too late to kneel and pledge your loyalty now." Zhao Liao said, "City Lord, this person is extremely scheming. His heart is like a scorpion and cannot be trusted. You must not be soft-hearted." Yang Yen knelt on the ground and continued, "City Lord, Yang Yen, have fought with Shiman Wuya for decades. I have been scheming with the Northwest Qin City for decades. I did not surrender and did not die. But today, I surrender. I kneel in front of you and beg for your forgiveness. Get up." Yang Zheng was furious. He suddenly placed his sword on Yang Yan's neck and said sternly, "I am the head of the Yang clan. How dare you surrender? I will count to 3. If you don't get up, I will kill you immediately." After saying that, Yang Zheng pressed his sword down and blood flowed out from Yang Yan's neck. Yang Yan's eyes were filled with tears. Silently, he kowtowed to Yang Dingtian. After kowtowing, his forehead was immediately dripping with blood. 1. Yang Zheng roared loudly. Sinner Yang Yan, I beg for the city lord's forgiveness. Yang Yan kowtowed a second time and his face was immediately covered with blood. 2. Yang Zheng was furious. The sword on Yang Yan's neck trembled violently. Sinner Yang Yan, I beg for the city lord's forgiveness. Yang Yan kowtowed a third time and his forehead was badly mutilated. Boneless old thief, go to hell. Yang Zheng slashed down with his sword. Yang Yan raised his head and looked at Yang Dingtian, saying, City Lord can kill all traitors, but please leave behind a bloodline for my Yang clan. Old Yang Yan begs. After saying that, Yang Yan grabbed his head with both hands and twisted it violently. Puff. Blood spurted out. Yang Yan had completely twisted his own head. Fresh blood splattered on Yang Zheng's face. His sword that was slashing at Yang Yan's neck stopped halfway. Looking at Yang Yan who had lost his head, his body trembled. Not only Yang Zheng, everyone present, including Yang Dingtian and Madame Shimin, were trembling, looking at the scene in front of them in disbelief. Yang Yan committed suicide. He used the most tragic method to commit suicide, twisting his own head off while he was still alive. At this time, Yang Yan's body still did not fall. He was kneeling on the ground, holding the head he had twisted off with both hands, offering it to Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian looked at Yang Yan's severed head. At this time, 2 streams of blood flowed down from his eyes. Although he was already dead, Yang Yan's eyes were still filled with tears of blood and pleading. City Lord, please leave behind a bloodline for my Yang clan, don't kill them all. Ah! After a long time, Yang Zheng suddenly howled and cried like a wild beast.
Chapter 364. Yang Yan's final kowtow wasn't to beg for mercy, but to ask Yang Dingtian to spare Yang Zheng's life. At this moment, Yang Zheng was already kneeling on the ground. Yan Bieli's face was twitching, and there wasn't a trace of blood on his face. His turbid eyes were filled with trembling and fear. He didn't know if he should pick up his weapon and fight or kneel down and beg for mercy. Yang Dingtian glanced at Madame Shimin and Jiao Liao before drawing his golden soul sword. The 3 of them neatly surrounded Yan Bieli. Yan Bieli's expression changed drastically. He quickly raised his weapon and looked at Yang Zheng. However, Yang Zheng was still kneeling on the ground and bawling without any reaction. Apologies. Yang Dingtian apologized to Yan Bieli. Then, the 3 of them thrust their swords at Yan Bieli. Elder Yan Bieli of the enforcement pavilion widened his eyes. The sword in his hand was about to slash at Yang Dingtian, but halfway through, he gave up and stood there motionlessly. Piashich. Yang Dingtian's sword pierced through Yan Bieli's heart. A mouthful of fresh blood spurted out from Yan Bieli's mouth. Then, his tall body collapsed onto the ground. Yan Bieli was dead. The elder of the enforcement pavilion of Cloud Heaven City for 20 years had finally come to an end. He wanted to beg for mercy, but his pride didn't allow him to do so. He wanted to resist, but he knew that it was meaningless. Therefore, he stood there motionlessly and allowed Yang Dingtian to kill him. After killing Yan Bieli, Yang Dingtian came to Yang Zheng. Yang Zheng, have you had any women all these years? Did you have any children? Yang Dingtian asked. Kill me if you want. There is no need to be hypocritical. Yang Zheng sneered. Do you want the Yang clan to have no descendants? Yang Dingtian said coldly, Yang Yan is really blind. He actually placed all his hopes on you. Instantly, Yang Zheng's body trembled. Then, he shook his head and said, It's not like you don't know who the love of my life is. How can I have a woman? How can I have a child? Then, immediately tell me the name of a woman. This woman must like you very, very much. I'll have someone bring her here. You two will get married. After she gives birth to a child, no matter if it's a boy or a girl, I'll kill you. Then, I'll raise your child and personally teach him martial arts. After he grows up, if he is capable enough, Cloud Heaven City can be handed over to him, Yang Dingtian said calmly. Yang Zheng was completely dumbfounded. Perhaps you feel that I'm very shameless, to actually have an illicit relationship with Qin Huayu, to actually have a marriage alliance with Qin Wanchou. This is no different from acknowledging a thief as my father. Yang Dingtian said, but this is definitely not for my power. I have no interest in power in Cloud Sky City. I just want to protect the people I care about.
I've told you before that if you're clear-headed enough, I can give up my position as Cloud Heaven City's city lord and hand it over to you. But your heart is completely deceived. All right. Yang Dingtian sighed and said, either you tell me the name of a woman who loves you, or I'll kill you right now. Yang Zheng looked at Yang Dingtian, tears continuously flowing from his eyes. Then, his legs went soft and he directly knelt on the ground. With a trembling voice, he said, thank you, City Lord, for your help. Land of Chaos, Thunder Town, Misty Hall, Little Peach. Is she a pervert? Yang Dingtian asked. Yang Zheng nodded and said, she is a pervert. She once risked her life to save mine. I promised to take her away, but I lied to her. I've let her down. Yang Dingtian frowned and said, I don't have much prejudice against perverts, but her talent might not be too good. The child she gives birth to probably won't have a strong martial arts talent either. Yang Zheng said, I'm already an inauspicious person. How can I harm other women? All right. After returning to Cloud Heaven City, I'll send someone to bring her over, Yang Dingtian said. Thank you, City Lord. Yang Zheng knelt down and kowtowed. Then, Yang Dingtian took out a fiery red pill from his spatial ring and burned it with profound fire. Boom! Suddenly, the pill exploded, turning into a mass of purple-red dancing light and shadow. This is a poison concocted by Shiman Ningning. It's called Ghost Chains. Although it can't compare to the deep-sea profound poison or the darkness crystal, it's the only antidote. There's basically no way to save you. Eat it, Yang Dingtian said and then pressed the ball of purple-red light into Yang Zheng's chest. Suddenly, a demonic red mark appeared on Yang Zheng's face. Hong Yi, seal all of his profound veins and block his qi, Yang Dingtian said. Immediately, Yao Rao stepped forward and quickly sealed all of Yang Zheng's profound veins. Yang Zheng's body trembled and then his face suddenly turned pale. In an instant, he lost all of his cultivation. Big Brother Qin, please come in. After Yang Dingtian was done, he shouted towards the outside. Qin Huayu walked in and looked at Yang Yen and Yen Bili's corpses. He said, done. Good, I can go into battle easily in the future. Then, he saw Yang Zheng who was hunched over and shrunk back. He immediately said to Yang Dingtian, brother, this is your family's matter. It's not good for me to interfere. However, you must not be merciful to your enemies. You must eliminate them by the roots. Don't look at how pitiful they are now. In the future, they might be destroyed in their hands. Their relationship with you is different from the relationship between you and me. There's no death feud between us, but there's an absolute death feud between you two. Yang Dingtian was startled. He didn't expect Qin Huayu to advise Yang Dingtian to kill Yang Zheng. Killing is still necessary, but after a period of time, Yang Dingtian said. That's fine too. Qin Huayu said, without my northwest Qin city, this Yang Zheng won't be able to stir up any waves. Then, Qin Huayu continued, also, brother, I've always done things thoroughly and straightforwardly. This Ren Duansong is a spy from my northwest Qin city who has been hiding in your place for a long time. This Swa Boning was also sent by us. The two of them won't cause trouble for you. I'll bring them back to Qin City. I'll also bring back Black Blood Castle and the thousands of troops that infiltrated your Cloud Heaven City's territory. I'll also bring Shiman Ju back. After returning to Cloud Heaven City, I'll let Shimin-ju go over to you. Yang Dingtian said, Shimin-ju doesn't need to return to Qin City, right? He's an elder of Cloud Heaven City. It doesn't seem appropriate for him to leave Cloud Heaven City even though he's still alive. How about this, let him go to the Abyss Castle. Since Cloud Heaven City and Qin City have become one family, there's no need to be on guard at the border. It's just right for Shimin-ju to guard the Abyss Castle. Qin Huayu nodded and smiled. Alright, I'll do as brother says. Then, he said to Shimin-ju, brother-in-law, why aren't you greeting your city lord? From today onwards, you'll have to be loyal to your city lord. Shimin-ju went forward and knelt down. He said respectfully, Shimin-ju greets the city lord. Yang Dingtian extended his hand to help Shimin-ju up. Alright, there are still some matters at the main camp that haven't been settled. Shimin-ju, follow me to settle them. Understood, Shimin-ju replied. Yang Dingtian then cupped his hands towards Qin Huayu. Big brother Qin, I'll go settle the matters. After I settle all the matters in Cloud Heaven City, I'll immediately follow you to Northwest Qin City. Alright, please do as you wish, Qin Huayu said. Farewell, Yang Dingtian said. Farewell. Qin Huayu said. Then, Yang Dingtian carried Yang Yen and Yen Bili's corpses and flew down the mountain. Madame Shimin, Jiao Liao, and Yao Rao flew down the mountain. Shimin-ju carried Yang Zheng and flew down as well. The few of them mounted their horses and galloped towards the main camp dozens of miles away. After running for a few miles, Jiao Liao said, City Lord, if we go back like this, we won't be able to explain to the feudal lords in Cloud Heaven City. Yes, they wouldn't be able to explain. Li Zhongjian wasn't rescued, and Tian Luo Mo Sha wasn't killed. Yang Dingtian waved his hand. Don't worry, he's extremely smart. He's already thought of what we thought of. As expected, after a while, a sound came from behind. City Lord Yang Dingtian, please wait a moment. Qin Buxing's voice came from behind. Then, Qin Buxing, Tian Luo Mo Sha, Li Zhongjian's wife, and children caught up. Li Zhongjian led his wife and children forward and knelt down. Li Zhongjian thanked City Lord for saving our lives. Arriving in front of Yang Dingtian, Qin Buxing handed over a large bundle. City Lord Yang Dingtian, this is a gift from young lord. Yang Dingtian took it and opened it slightly. Instantly, a bloody smell assaulted his senses. Inside, there were 5 human heads. Zhua Boning and Ren Duansong's heads. These 2 people were spies from the Northwest Qin City who had infiltrated Cloud Heaven City. At this time, they were mercilessly killed by Qin Huayu, who cut off their heads and gave them to Yang Dingtian as a gift. Yang Dingtian didn't take the initiative to mention it, but he said something. Shimin-ju was clearly alive, but he wanted to leave Cloud Heaven City. This would cause the disciples of Cloud Heaven City to gossip. In other words, Zhua Boning and Ren Duansong disappeared from Cloud Heaven City just like that. There didn't seem to be enough reason. Therefore, after Yang Dingtian left, Qin Huayu immediately cut off the heads of these 2 people. Of the remaining 3 heads, 2 were the remaining 2 elders of Stormy Valley, and the last was the head of the fake Tian Luo Mo Sha. Young master asked me to apologize to you. He really can't leave the Tian Luo Mo Sha, so he can only use a fake head to replace it. However, it should be able to pass off as the real one, Qin Buxing said. Of course, it could pass off as the real one. If the Tian Luo Mo Sha wasn't standing in front of him, Yang Dingtian would really think that his head had been cut off by Qin Huayu. Yang Dingtian bowed and said, Thank you for your deep friendship, brother Qin. I look forward to seeing you again in the future. Goodbye. Then, Yang Dingtian carried the huge bag, mounted his horse, and galloped towards the camp. At this time, in the Mist Treasure Pavilion of Rose Villa, the feudal lords of Cloud Heaven City were eating meat and drinking wine. Paper couldn't wrap fire. These people weren't fools. When Yang Dingtian left with Yang Dingtian and the others, those who didn't know before would definitely know now. Yang Dingtian and the others' intention was to use the Tian Luo Mo Sha to kill Yang Dingtian. On Yang Yan's side, there were a total of 7 martial venerables. On Yang Dingtian's side, there were only 3 people. Therefore, everyone felt that Yang Dingtian wouldn't be able to return this time. Yang Dingtian is dead for sure this time. That's right. Perhaps this is the shortest-lived city lord in history. From start to finish, he didn't last more than 3 months. After Yang Dingtian dies, I really don't know who will benefit from Shimin Yanyan, this peerless beauty. Nonsense, of course it will be the new city lord, Yang Zheng. Not necessarily, not necessarily. It could also be someone else, someone even more important. The feudal lords drank and joked. Suddenly, someone said, actually, it's not bad for Yang Dingtian to be the city lord. He's quite a good person. When these words were said, the hall instantly fell silent. Hee hee. Sha Padian sneered, let such a brat ride on our necks and shit and pee. You guys are willing, but I won't. That's right, we won't. Red River Valley's Zhu Sanbao said, if we want to find a backer, we have to find the strongest one. Who does Yang Dingtian think he is? Isn't he just a bastard who harmed his mother-in-law? He's just a lucky bastard. Let him ride roughshod over us, I won't accept it even if I die. Moreover, he's already dead now. Oh right, maybe his corpse was fed to the dogs. Sha Padian laughed, young city lord Yang Dingtian hates him to the core. Shimin Yanyan's virginity was ruined by Yang Dingtian. Because of him, city lord Yang Zheng can only drink the second bowl of soup. Zhu Sanbao drooled, Shimin Yanyan is such a peerless beauty, I'd be willing to taste the 100th bowl of soup. Isn't that right? Yang Dingtian really has good luck with women. He has the peerless beauty Shimin Yanyan and the mature beauty Yang Peipei. If it was me, I'd be willing to die immediately. Instantly, the voices in the hall became vulgar. Of course, there were also a large number of people who frowned. They didn't mind trampling on Yang Dingtian. However, they were still full of respect for Shimin Wuya. Hearing Zhu Sanbao and Sha Padian humiliating Shimin Wuya, they were indeed unhappy. Zhu Sanbao, be more polite. After all, Shimin Wuya is city lord Shimin's widow. Someone couldn't stand it and said, bah. Zhu Sanbao sneered, she can have an affair with Yang Dingtian and do such a shameful thing, but she doesn't allow others to talk about it. Now that her son-in-law is dead, she might even climb into the bed of the new son-in-law, Yang Zheng. This is even more chaotic. Yang Zheng calls her aunt. Actually, no one knew why Zhu Sanbao hated Shimin Wuya so much. It was because when he went to Cloud Heaven City to offer offerings, he was shocked by Shimin Wuya's beauty and actually tried to bribe Shimin Wuya's maid to steal her underwear. In the end, Shimin Wuya found out, but she was kind and didn't tell Shimin Wuya. Instead, she punished Zhu Sanbao alone and broke one of his fingers. Zhu Sanbao, who saved his life, wasn't grateful at all. Instead, he hated Shimin Wuya even more. After Shimin Wuya passed away, Zhu Sanbao insulted Shimin Wuya even more. Not only did she climb into Yang Zheng's bed, Yang Peipei might even climb into Qin Huayu's bed. Zhu Sanbao laughed wretchedly. The sound of horse hooves approached like thunder. Then, Yang Dingtian led everyone and rushed into the hall like the wind. All of a sudden, everyone was shocked. Yang Dingtian actually came back. He didn't die. He actually came back. After rushing into the hall, Yang Dingtian jumped off his horse and sat on the highest seat in the hall. In the hall, all the vassals forgot to drink and stared blankly at Yang Dingtian. They didn't know what was going on. Yang Dingtian threw out a bag. Instantly, 3 hideous heads rolled out. One was a fake Tian Luo Mo Sha, and the other 2 were barbarian elders. Evil must be eliminated. The leader of the barbarians, Tian Luo Mo Sha, and 2 of his lackeys have been executed. Yang Dingtian said, from now on, all the barbarians who invaded Cloud Heaven City have been killed. This war has ended successfully. End. Everyone stared blankly at the 3 heads on the ground and didn't have any reaction. Then, Yang Dingtian took out a few more heads, but he respectfully placed them on the table. Ren Duansong's head, Zhou Boning's head. Immediately, everyone cried out in surprise. Then, it was Yen Bieli's head, and finally Yang Yan's head. Ah! Everyone couldn't help but exclaim. Yang Yan was dead, Yen Bieli was dead, Ren Duansong was dead, and Zhou Boning was dead. 4 of the elders of Cloud Heaven City had died at once. Moreover, as the leader who opposed Yang Dingtian, Yang Yan, who spent a lot of money to rope in the feudal vassals, was actually dead. What happened? Didn't Yang Yan set a trap to kill Yang Dingtian? Why was Yang Dingtian fine, but Yang Yan was dead? Yang Dingtian looked at the 4 heads on the table and said sorrowfully, Tianluo Mo Sha, extremely vicious, counterattacked before death. My Cloud Heaven City's great elder Yang Yan, elder Yen Bieli, elder Ren Duansong, and elder Zhou Boning were all killed. The 100 people present were shocked again. They looked at the 4 heads in disbelief and didn't know how to react. They were born great and died honorably. Cloud Sky City will never forget them. Every citizen of Cloud Sky City will never forget them. They will never be forgotten. They will always be the role models of Cloud Sky City, role models, said Yi Futian. Yang Dingtian roared loudly, but, just when we were fighting a bloody battle and the 4 elders were sacrificing themselves bravely. Someone actually committed the crime of rape and plunder. Someone actually instigated a rebellion. Someone actually dared to defile the city lord and the late city lord's wife. Can you all pat your own conscience and face great elder Yang Yan's spirit in heaven? Following that, Yang Dingtian looked at Shiminju and Yang Zheng and said, Yang Zheng, Shiminju, what do you think should be done with Zhu Sanbao and Sha Patian, these heartless and unscrupulous people? Shiminju stepped forward and bowed, reporting to City Lord, Zhu Sanbao should have his tongue pulled out, castrated, and burned alive. Sha Patian should have his mystic meridians destroyed and his body torn apart by 5 horses. Yang Dingtian's eyes shrunk and said coldly, everyone, listen up. Zhu Sanbao started a rumor, attacked the city lord, and defiled the late city lord's wife. He should have his tongue pulled out, castrated, and burned to death. Sha Patian instigated a rebellion, sentenced to be torn apart by 5 horses. All the Yang clan's personal guards who participated in the plunder and rape shall be beheaded in public. Yang Dingtian ordered. Sha Patian and Zhu Sanbao's expression changed drastically as they shouted sternly, Yang Dingtian, how dare you? Sha Patian raised his arm and shouted, brothers, let's fight it out with them. There are over 100 of us, enough to tear Yang Dingtian into 1,000,000 pieces. As soon as these words were spoken, the entire scene was shaken. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Before Sha Patian could finish his words, a miserable cry was heard. Shiminju flashed behind him like a phantom and slashed out his sword like lightning, directly severing the meridians in Sha Potion's limbs. Then, the sharp sword pierced into Sha Potion's chi-si and stirred violently. Ah! Sha Patian let out an earth-shattering howl as his chi-si was completely destroyed. Then, Yang Jing shouted, men, Zhu Sanbao has committed treason by spreading rumors and insulting the late city lord's wife. Drag him out, pull out his tongue, castrate him, and burn him to death. Sha Patian instigated a rebellion and colluded with the enemy. According to the city lord's order, he is sentenced to be torn apart by 5 horses. Instantly, everyone present was stunned. Weren't Shiminju and Yang Zheng Yang Dingtian's enemies? Why were they standing together with Yang Dingtian now? Moreover, they were so respectful to Yang Dingtian and followed his lead. Zhu Sanbao's face was filled with shock as he shouted hoarsely, everyone, let's fight it out with them. We have more people, let's fight it out with them. However, even though there were people who were ready to make a move, no one really stood out. All the vassals present were terrified. Why were Shiminju and Yang Zheng standing on Yang Dingtian's side all of a sudden? Moreover, Yang Yan and the rest were already beheaded. At this moment, if they jumped out, they would be courting death. Then, amidst Zhu Sanbao's earth-shattering screams, Li Zhongjian personally stepped forward and dragged Zhu Sanbao out like he was dragging a dead dog. Two warriors came in, grabbed Sha Potion's hands and dragged him out, leaving a long trail of blood on the ground. Chapter 365. On the square, 20,000 soldiers were seated neatly. Cloud Sky City was holding the largest public trial in history. Zhu Sanbao was tied to a huge pillar. His entire body was trembling, covered in blood, feces, and urine. Sha Potion's limbs and head were tied up with ropes as he was dragged in the air by 5 warhorses. 200 soldiers of the Yang family knelt in a few rows and placed their heads on the guillotine. In addition, not only the soldiers of the Yang family, there were also close to 100 warriors who had committed the same crime. They were all kneeling in front of the guillotine. The entire public trial would take more than 4 hours. As soon as the public trial ended, the execution would be carried out immediately. These hundreds of people would all be executed. Yang Dingtian's ruthlessness made all the nobles present tremble in fear. Originally, when some of the soldiers of the Yang family and a small number of other warriors were about to be executed for committing the same crime, the 20,000 soldiers present still had some emotions. They felt that they had risked their lives to be executed just because of a mistake. It was too unjust. In addition to some of the lord's instigation, the atmosphere in the square suddenly became very dangerous. If all 20,000 people present rebelled and caused trouble, it would really be impossible to suppress them no matter what. Yang Dingtian walked to the highest point and looked at the surging crowd. He said coldly, "What are you doing here?" Immediately, a warrior said, "We are here to save Rose Villa." "You are here to save Rose Villa, but in the end, you are saving yourselves." Yang Dingtian yelled out, "I can say this. The Rose Villa has already been destroyed and not many people have been killed. Many people have also been killed. However, we've exterminated all the beasts of the barbarian race here. We've killed them all. The ones who have benefited are the people of the entire territory. To put it more directly, you have saved your parents, wives, and children. Some people keep saying that you are here to save Rose Villa, so you have worked hard and contributed greatly. Therefore, there is nothing wrong with indulging after the battle." Yang Dingtian angrily rebuked, "Nonsense. You are saving yourselves, but you did not save the people of Rose Villa. Look at how many corpses of Rose Villa's people are lying on the ground. If the barbarian beasts continue to spread, then the ones who will be killed, raped, and made into meat will be your parents and relatives. So, let's make one thing clear first. You're not here to save Rose Villa, you're here to save yourselves." As soon as he said this, the 20,000 soldiers immediately quieted down. "That's the first point." Yang Dingtian said loudly, "Secondly, you said that you came to Rose Villa to exterminate the barbarian army for me, the city lord of Cloud Heaven City. Even more bullshit." Yang Dingtian slammed his fist on the table and said angrily, "That's right, I have always had the responsibility to protect the people of my territory. So whether you come or not, I will come. But if you want to say that you came to save Rose Manor and attacked the Berserker tribe because of me, then that's completely absurd. Do you know that your lord, my subjects, are all lords? During my enthronement ceremony, no one was loyal to me. Everyone was against me. In other words, I won't be able to get any power from your territories. The barbarian beasts won't be able to attack Cloud Heaven City. The barbarian beasts will only harm the places where your families are. So on the second day, you came here to attack the Berserker tribe, not for me, Yang Dingtian, but for yourselves and for your families. Thirdly." Yang Dingtian sneered, "Some people say that after the war, you should indulge yourself a little. In any case, you have saved Rose Villa's life, so it's not a big deal to rape a few women and steal a few things. Many people have this view, right? Bullshit." Yang Dingtian said sternly, "The barbarians attacked Rose Villa because of its geographical location and also because of a coincidence. Rose Villa and the barbarians have no enmity, which means that if the barbarians can attack Rose Villa, they can also attack other places. That place could very well be your home. Rose Villa represents the entire Cloud Heaven City's 1,000 miles territory. It represents your suffering. From another point of view, the men and women in Rose Villa are the same as your parents, wives, and children. If today the barbarians didn't attack Rose Villa but Iron Sword Sect instead, then the warriors of Iron Sword Sect, after the 20,000-strong army saved your Iron Sword Sect, would you be willing to rape your wives and daughters and steal your things? Men, bring out the victims. Yang Dingtian ordered. Immediately, hundreds of women with tattered clothes staggered out. Every one of them had their faces covered. Yang Dingtian didn't want to hurt them a second time. Yang Dingtian pointed at these girls and spoke loudly. These girls didn't suffer a calamity when the barbarian race invaded the Rose Manor. When you killed all the barbarians, they were overjoyed. They felt that they were saved and treated you as heroes, as benefactors. Who knew that some of you would pounce on them like wild beasts and humiliate them one by one? What if they were your wives or sisters? Would you do that? You might say that they are Rose Villas, not my wives or sisters. However, if they are Rose Villas today, they might be your wives or sisters tomorrow. Do you still feel wronged and want to cause trouble? Yang Dingtian stared at the 20,000 warriors and said coldly, whoever is dissatisfied and wants to cause trouble, step forward. Immediately, everyone trembled. Of course, no one dared to step forward. All right, I want to execute these people. Whoever is dissatisfied, step forward. Yang Dingtian said sternly. Still, no one stepped forward. All right then. Yang Dingtian suddenly raised his hand and yelled out, execute them. Execute them all. Swish, 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 waves of hands raised and swords fell. Blood spurted out. More than 200 people in the Yang family's personal army and more than 100 people who committed rape were all beheaded in public. Immediately after, a torch was lit on Zhu Sanbao's body. Ah! This little lord who had viciously defiled Madame Shimen and Yang Dingtian let out a miserable howl. He struggled crazily but was completely engulfed by the flames. Split! Shimen Zhu waved his hand. 5 warhorses galloped forward. The new leader of Iron Sword Sect, Shapatian, let out a short miserable howl before he was torn into pieces and died on the spot. Almost every one of the 20,000 warriors present had seen blood before. Many of them had killed people before. However, this was the first time they had seen such a scene. Immediately, their faces turned pale and their bodies trembled. Now, what should you do? Bow and apologize to the 100 or so ladies of Rose Villa, Yang Dingtian said coldly. Immediately, the 20,000 soldiers stood up and bowed to the 100 or so ladies in an orderly manner to express their apology. All warriors, stay where you are. Subjects of each territory, follow me. Yang Dingtian took the lead and walked into the meeting hall. Shimen Zhu, Yang Zheng, Jiao Liao, and Madame Shimen immediately followed. Back in the hall, Yang Dingtian lazily sat on the highest seat and said coldly, those who are not willing to be loyal to me, go to the right. Once these words were spoken, the 100 or so vassals present became restless. Shimen Zhu took half a step forward and pulled out his sword by half a chi. Who was Shimen Zhu? He represented the northwest Qin city and was now standing on Yang Dingtian's side. His intention of pulling out his sword was very obvious. If anyone dared to stand on the right, then don't blame the sword for being merciless. It must be known that in this great war, there were all sorts of vassals. All the lords had shit on their butts. They were either looting or trying to cause trouble. If they were convicted, they could be easily found out. If they were executed in front of everyone, then it would be too unjust. Therefore, even though there were people who were restless, no one dared to stand on the right. I will count to 3. If no one goes to the right, then I will consider all of you to be loyal to me. Yang Dingtian said coldly, 3. Madame Shimen and Jiao Liao pulled out half of their swords. This was a blatant threat. 2. Yang Dingtian stood up from the throne. 1. Very good. Yang Dingtian took out his golden soul sword and placed it on the ground. He said, "Since you are all willing to be loyal to me, then kneel down and perform the sword-kissing ceremony." Instantly, Shimin Ju stepped forward and kissed Yang Dingtian's sword. Then, Yang Zheng stepped forward and kissed Yang Dingtian's sword. With these two taking the lead, the vassals who had relaxed their attitudes also stepped forward and kissed the sword. Soon, the change in quantity led to a change in quality. The 100 or so vassals present lined up one by one and knelt down to ask for Yang Dingtian's sword to show their loyalty. The entire sword-kissing ceremony lasted for about an hour. All the vassals present knelt down to show their loyalty. Good. From today onwards, I have the responsibility to protect all of you. Similarly, all of you have the responsibility to support me. If anyone dares to rebel again, I will punish them according to the law. Yang Dingtian said, "All right, disperse and rest for the night. Tomorrow, we will immediately withdraw and return to the camp." 3 days later, Yang Dingtian returned to Cloud Sky City. On the 4th day, Yang Dingtian and Shimin Ju handed over Black Blood Castle. All the Qin City warriors in Black Blood Castle returned to Northwest Qin City through various channels. Shimin Ju led a team to the Abyss Castle to guard the border between Cloud Sky City and Northwest Qin City. Immediately after, Yang Dingtian gave the order for Shimin Lai to be the Black Blood Castle Lord and the Black Blood Cavalry Commander. More than 2,000 Black Blood Cavalry troops were expanded to 5,000 men and once again stationed in Black Blood Castle. Finally, Black Blood Castle, which had fallen for almost 2 years, returned to the hands of Shimin Lai's Black Blood Cavalry. When they entered the city, Shimin Lai, who was a tough man, couldn't help but tear up. After the handover, the Northwest Qin City's forces on the surface were completely chased out of Cloud Sky City's territory. In fact, after Yang Dingtian went to Rose Villa, Shimin Ju led the army. Shimin Lai led the army and completely cleaned up the area within 100 miles of Cloud Sky City. He got rid of all the flies and dogs, making the area within 100 miles of Cloud Sky City clean and tidy. Yang Dingtian sat on the golden throne in the Cloud Sky Grand Hall again. Looking at the missing members of the Elder Guild, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but sigh. Even though the process was very dangerous, difficult, and filled with helplessness, he still managed to do it. But he still did it. He finally had complete control over Cloud Sky City. Yang Yan, Yen Bieli, Zhua Boning, and Ren Duansong, the 4 opponents of Yang Dingtian, were all dead. Yang Zheng, the core leader of the opposition group, was completely crippled and was now under house arrest. Shimin Ju, the spokesperson of Northwest Qin City, was chased out of the core of power by Yang Dingtian. He still had the Elder Guild's name, but he had already gone to the Abyss Castle. Therefore, the only members of the Elder Guild were Madame Shimin, Yang Peipei, Shimin Lai, Jiao Liao, and Mu Liancheng. They were all on his side. Including the Elder of the Scripture Pavilion who had always been neutral, there were only 7 people in the Elder Guild of Cloud Sky City. Yang Dingtian said, "In a few days, I will be leading a team to the Northwest Qin City for a marriage alliance. Therefore, there are some things that need to be settled first. The first thing is to fill up the Elder Guild." Yang Dingtian said, "This is my opinion. For now, we will not add anyone to the Elder Guild. However, we need to introduce mobile Elder Guild members. There will be a total of 3 non-permanent elders, and each term will be 2 years. They will be filled by the outstanding lords of Cloud Sky City. If any of the lords becomes an elder on duty, they will distribute elixirs and allow their disciples to enter the Cloud Sky City Scripture Pavilion to learn." Once these words were spoken, everyone's eyes trembled slightly as they looked at each other. The second thing is to rotate the garrison of Cloud Sky City's army. For example, the Rose Manor's army can be stationed at the Iron Sword Sect. The Iron Sword Sect's army can even be stationed at Cloud Sky City. The Cloud Sky City's army can also be stationed at any other territory. Regularly mobilize the troops and carry out armed drills. Yang Dingtian said, "Let the high-level warriors in Cloud Sky City's territory move as well. Let the high-level warriors in the territory come to Cloud Sky City to cultivate and take up positions. Let the high-level warriors and officers of Cloud Sky City take up positions in the various territories and lead the army. Once these words were spoken, everyone knew what Yang Dingtian wanted to do. He wanted to take away the power of the vassals in the territory. He wanted to completely take over Cloud Sky City's territory. Just like the Northwest Qin City, he wanted to hold all the power of the territory in his hands. Once he succeeded, the vassals in Cloud Sky City's territory would become ordinary military officers of Cloud Sky City. Cloud Sky City would truly control 1 million people, 1,000 miles of land, and tens of thousands of warriors. Regardless of whether it was the rotation of the garrison of the army or the rotation of the officers, they all had to dig into the foundation of the vassals in the territory. Shimen Lai bowed and said, "City Lord, everything you said is an excellent method. It can fundamentally take away the power of the vassals. However, there is no doubt that they will not cooperate with your plan. Whether it is the rotation of the garrison of the army or the rotation of the high-level warriors, they will not cooperate." This time, on the surface, they knelt and pledged their loyalty to you, but that was forced. Many of them are still opposed to you in their hearts. Yang Dingtian nodded and said, "I know. If I want them to be loyal to me and respect me, I will have to surpass the level of a high-level master. However, if I want them to cooperate with my garrison of the army, the long-term training of the army, and the rotation of the high-level warriors, they will not be afraid of me. Besides making them fear me, I can also give them great benefits so that they will take the initiative to come forward and complete my plan." "What benefits?" Shimen Lai asked. "The Celestial Qi Condensation Purification Array." Yang Dingtian said, "As long as Cloud Sky City builds this heaven-defying object, all the experts in Cloud Sky City's territory will flock to it like a flock of ducks. They will all curry favor and pledge their loyalty." When these words came out, everyone was even more shocked. With this kind of array, anyone would be able to achieve twice the results with half the effort. However, this kind of array was currently only available to Yin Yang School, Black Heaven Sect, and a few other forces. The amount of treasures, money, and demonic cores used to build this formation was astronomical. It could be said that with Cloud Sky City's financial resources, they would not be able to build it even if they sold it 10 times. However, once it was built, the power of the entire sect would increase by leaps and bounds. Now, Yang Dingtian actually said that he wanted to build this kind of array. How could they not be shocked? Yin Yang School, the Black Heaven Sect spent decades to build this array. How could Cloud Sky City, which had such a weak foundation, be able to build it? However, with this thing, Cloud Sky City would have an unparalleled cohesiveness and centripetal force. Yang Dingtian could completely divide the relationship between the feudal lords and the warriors under them. He could completely take over the feudal lords and completely control the thousands of miles of Cloud Sky City's territory, millions of people, and tens of thousands of warriors. City Lord, if I remember correctly, with the power of Qin City, this array took a full 20 years to build and was only completed recently. Compared to Qin City, Cloud Sky City's power is extremely weak and is not even 1/10 of Qin City's. How easy would it be to build a Celestial Qi Condensation Purification Array? Shimen Lai said. Yang Dingtian said, "Big brother, don't worry. I already have a different understanding of this array and have some confidence in it. If there are no accidents, it should be completed within a year. The day this array is completed will be the day Cloud Sky City rises." When these words came out, everyone present was incomparably excited. Yang Dingtian did not boast or lie. If this Celestial Qi Condensation Purification Array could be completed within a year, it would truly be the time for Cloud Sky City to soar. Why did Northwest Qin City put in all their effort and spend 20 years to build this array? Qin Wanzhou wanted to become one of the 3 great sects in the world. Because among the forces in the world, only Yin Yang School and Black Heaven Sect had this array. Every time Yin Yang School and Black Heaven Sect opened up an extremely small number of spots to enter the array to cultivate, it completely shocked all the forces in the world. A large part of the reason why the entire world worshipped Yin-Yang School and Black Heaven sect was because of this celestial qi condensation purification array. With this array, anyone's cultivation time could be directly reduced by more than half. How heaven-defying was this? With this array, Cloud Sky City would be able to create a few grandmasters in just a few years. This time, when I go to Northwest Qin City, I might be able to get the key item needed for this array, Yang Dingtian said. Madame Shimin said worriedly, Little Tian, are you really going to Qin City? Qin Wanchou and his son are despicable and shameless. If you go, I'm really worried about your safety. Don't worry. Yang Dingtian said, I will use all my strength to announce to the world that I, Yang Dingtian, will be going to Northwest Qin City for a marriage alliance. Moreover, there will be a large number of Tiando League members accompanying me. I hope so, Madame Shimin said, but her beautiful eyes were still filled with worry. At night, Yang Dingtian had been cultivating with his eyes closed in Shimin Ningning's wooden house in the valley, waiting for a few days to go to Qin City for a marriage alliance. Master, Tang Buizhao wishes to see you, Zhan Lang said outside. I won't see him, Yang Dingtian said coldly. Ever since Yang Yen died and Yang Zheng was crippled, Tang Buizhao was like a stray dog, living in fear all day long. Master, he's kneeling outside, saying that he must see you no matter what. Then, whether you beat him or kill him, it's up to you, Zhan Lang said. I said I won't see him, so I won't see him, Yang Dingtian said. Then, Yang Dingtian continued to close his eyes and cultivate. Zhan Lang's voice came from outside. Suddenly, Tang Buizhao shouted into the valley, City Lord, I have the most important secret to report. Please see me. Yang Dingtian ignored him. Tang Buizhao hissed, it's about Shimin Ningning. I'm the only one who knows this secret. I've never told anyone. Yang Dingtian's eyes suddenly trembled, and then he shouted in a low voice, Zhan Lang, let him in. Soon, Tang Buizhao appeared in front of Yang Dingtian with a fawning and extremely servile face. He knelt down and kowtowed, Sinner Tang Buizhao greets my master. Not the city lord, but my master. The thickness of this Tang Buizhao's skin was really unparalleled. Yang Dingtian said coldly, speak, about Shimin Ningning. Tang Buizhao said respectfully, my master, please wait a moment. Then, he ran out and came in with a cloth bag on his shoulder. It was obvious that there was a woman inside, a woman with a very seductive figure. Yang Dingtian's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that Shimin Ningning was inside? About Miss Shimin Ningning's secret, it was my wife who discovered it. Let her tell you alone. Tang Buizhao said, by the way, let her serve you well. Then, he opened the cloth bag and revealed the woman inside. Mature and gorgeous, she was somewhat similar to Yang Shishir and Yang Peipei. She was indeed Tang Buizhao's wife, Yang Qingqing. In order to survive, Tang Buizhao, this scum, actually gave his wife to Yang Dingtian. Chapter 366. Yang Dingtian led close to 1,000 men to retire from the army and followed Qin Huayu to the northwest Qin city to marry Qin Jiaojiao. However, none of the experts from the direct line of descent came, only Tang Buizhao. In addition, Li Guinong was the matchmaker, and Mu Liani was the personal maid, taking care of Yang Dingtian's daily life. The distance from Cloud Heaven City to the northwest Qin city was 3,000 to 4,000 miles, but they didn't encounter any trouble. Because the first 1,000 miles was Cloud Heaven City's territory, and the last 3,000 miles was Northwest Qin City's territory. It was very obvious that none of them had the guts to find trouble with Yang Dingtian and Qin Huayu. Along the way, Yang Dingtian spent most of his time with Yang Dingtian. They either played chess or practiced sword techniques together. In short, the two didn't talk about the past or business, but they actually got along very well. In other words, Qin Huayu was the young man that Yang Dingtian got along with the most. Whether it was chatting or playing chess, it was like a spring breeze. Things in this world were really unpredictable. Yang Dingtian and Qin Huayu were originally the biggest enemies, but now, they were chatting and laughing all day, as if they were best friends. 2 days later, Yang Dingtian and Qin Huayu's troops would pass by the Abyss Castle. At night, they would rest in the Abyss Castle and pass by the border pontoon bridge tomorrow morning. Abyss Castle Master Shimanju greets the city lord. Shimanju led all the officers of the Abyss Castle and knelt at the entrance to welcome the city lord. Yang Dingtian helped him up and said, "Second brother Shiman, no need to be so courteous. City lord, young Lord Qin, I have already prepared a banquet in the castle to welcome the city lord." Shimanju said. Yang Dingtian nodded and said to Qin Huayu and Li Guinong, "Big brother Qin, martial uncle Li, please." Yang Dingtian, Li Guinong, Qin Huayu, and the others entered the Abyss Castle. Yang Dingtian led 1,000 cavalry troops and arranged them in the huge Abyss Castle. At the banquet that night, Yang Dingtian sat in the center with Li Guinong on his left and Qin Huayu on his right. During the banquet, Qin Huayu was very good at drinking. He repeatedly toasted Yang Dingtian and also repeatedly toasted Li Guinong. As for Tang Boizhou, he actually didn't have Qin Huayu or Shimanju in his eyes. He dedicated all his attentions to Yang Dingtian. He toasted him repeatedly, sang for Yang Dingtian, and even danced for Yang Dingtian. From the looks of it, Tang Boizhou was the most loyal person in Cloud Sky City. Qin Huayu didn't mock him. Instead, he applauded and cheered. After interacting with Qin Huayu for the past few days, Yang Dingtian realized that when Qin Huayu wasn't scheming to harm people, he was a great friend. Mu Lianyi, who was serving beside Yang Dingtian, couldn't stand seeing Qin Huayu like this. She couldn't help but mock, "Young Lord Qin, Uncle Li's wooden sword castle has already been occupied by your northwest Qin city's army. My big sister Shui Hongxiao doesn't have a home anymore and has been crying all day. Please be merciful and spare Uncle Li's family." Yang Dingtian frowned and glanced at Mu Lianyi. "What's wrong? You slept with her, and now I can't even mention it." Mu Lianyi said angrily. Yang Dingtian said, "All right, you must be tired from the journey. Go back and rest." "I won't." Mu Lianyi said, "Young Lord Qin, I want to ask you. What do you want for you to be willing to return Wooden Sword Castle to Uncle Li's family?" Yang Dingtian and Qin Huayu were working together to deal with Qin Chichi. This was something that many people were aware of. However, apart from Yang Dingtian, Qin Huayu, Li Guinong, and Shimanju, there were also many officers from the Abyss Castle. This kind of thing couldn't be exposed. Immediately, Yang Dingtian frowned and said, "Mu Lianyi, go back to your room immediately. Otherwise, go back to Cloud Sky City. I don't need you to serve me anymore. If I don't want to serve you, then so be it. What's the big deal?" Mu Lianyi cried and then stepped on Yang Dingtian's foot. She wiped her tears and ran back to her room. In fact, ever since Yang Dingtian decided to marry Northwest Qin City, no one said anything. Even Yan Yan only teased Yang Dingtian a little. She even felt that Yang Dingtian was greatly wronged, so she used the most exaggerated posture to serve Yang Dingtian for several nights. However, Mu Lianyi always appeared to be very angry and didn't give Yang Dingtian any face these days. This time, Yang Dingtian originally didn't want to bring Mu Lianyi to Qin City. It was Yan Yan who arranged it. Qin Huayu sighed and toasted Li Guinong. "Martial Uncle Li, regarding Wooden Sword Castle, I will definitely think of a way to give you an explanation." Li Guinong smiled and drank the wine. At night, Yang Dingtian returned to his room to rest. Mu Lianyi was bending over to tidy up the bed for Yang Dingtian. "Lianyi, if it's for myself, I definitely won't compromise and collude with Qin City." Yang Dingtian said, "But for Qin City, for the Qin City that is still relatively weak, I'm willing to do this. I thought you would understand. I'm just a lowly maid. Why do you have to explain to me?" Mu Lianyi said. "Okay, if you want to blame and scold me, you can do it in front of me. But after we go to Qin City, don't say it. It will bring you danger," Yang Dingtian said. "No need. Tomorrow morning, I will return to Cloud Sky City," Mu Lianyi said coldly. Okay, that's good too, Yang Dingtian said. Mu Lianyi stepped forward and took off Yang Dingtian's clothes and changed into soft pajamas. After Yang Dingtian went to bed, Mu Lianyi lay down on the bed in the outer room. From beginning to end, she didn't give Yang Dingtian a good look. Yang Dingtian closed his eyes and cultivated. He treated it as if he was sleeping. In the middle of the night, Yang Dingtian suddenly felt a cold and fragrant aura. Instantly, the hair on his body stood up and he opened his eyes. He saw a beautiful figure standing in front of the bed. It was Dongfang Bingling. She actually appeared here. Junior sister. Yang Dingtian got off the bed and said, "Why are you here?" Dongfang Bingling stared at Yang Dingtian with her beautiful eyes. "Are you going to the northwest Qin city to form a marriage alliance?" Yang Dingtian nodded. "Do you have to go?" Dongfang Bingling asked. "Yes, junior sister." Yang Dingtian said, "Qin city is too powerful. I'm not strong enough now. I can only protect Cloud Sky City through this method. Northwest Qin City colluded with evil ways. You won't be able to clear your name in the future," Dongfang Bingling said. "Junior sister, it's hard to say what the future will be like." Yang Dingtian said, "But don't worry. I will definitely stand on the side of justice." Then, Yang Dingtian smiled. "You came here in the middle of the night just to denounce me?" Dongfang Bingling shook her head and said, "I'm here to ask you, when are you going to collect the mystic vein essence?" About a month later, Yang Dingtian said. "Okay, I'll wait for you in the swamp of the land of chaos," Dongfang Bingling said. Yang Dingtian was slightly stunned, then said, "Thank you, junior sister." Yang Dingtian knew that the mystic vein essence that was about to mature was in the Yinyang realm in the extreme north. To reach that place, he had to pass through thousands of miles of Evil Ways territory. Although Yang Dingtian was already a martial honorable, it was still too dangerous for him to pass through thousands of miles of Evil Ways territory alone. And Dongfang Bingling was a master realm expert. If he went with her, his safety would be guaranteed. "Okay, then I'll be leaving," Dongfang Bingling said. Then, her delicate body gently floated and was about to fly away. "Junior sister, please wait," Yang Dingtian said. Then, he took out a few elixirs of holy water from his space ring and handed them over. "Junior sister, although you're very powerful, just in case, you should keep these elixirs with you." Dongfang Bingling said, "I don't need them." Then, she was about to leave. "I told you to take them, so take them." Yang Dingtian went forward and grabbed her small hand, placing the elixirs in her palm. Dongfang Bingling's small hand was cold, smooth, and soft like jade. When he touched it, he felt like he had been electrocuted. Yang Dingtian's body trembled slightly, then he let go of her hand. Dongfang Bingling's delicate body also trembled slightly. Then, a beautiful figure flashed, and Dongfang Bingling directly disappeared in front of his eyes. Only an enchanting fragrance was left in the air. It was strange that Yang Dingtian had seen every part of Dongfang Bingling's body countless times, and even touched it countless times. He couldn't be more clear, even clearer than Yanyan's body. However, Dongfang Bingling was still incomparably mysterious in Yang Dingtian's heart. Although he didn't know how many times he had washed her body. But at this moment, just touching her hand was like being electrocuted. The next day, Yang Dingtian and Qin Huayu led 1,000 people through the border that had been sealed off and entered the territory of the northwest Qin city. After a 7-day-long journey, Yang Dingtian once again arrived at the Qin city. However, Yang Dingtian and Qin Huayu didn't enter the city. Instead, they stayed in a manor outside the city. "Yang Dingtian, before entering the city, I have a question to ask you." In a pavilion beside a pond, 2 people were playing chess. Qin Huayu said as he placed a piece. "Okay, go ahead." Yang Dingtian said. "What is your dream?" Qin Huayu asked. "Is it the kind of dream that says how high it is?" Yang Dingtian asked. Qin Huayu nodded and said, "It's this kind of dream." Regardless of whether it can be achieved or not, this is the ultimate goal in the depths of my heart. To find the truth of the ancient world's destruction. Yang Dingtian said, to find a way to save this world and completely change the situation of this world. To nationalize martial arts, suppress martial arts, encourage production, and promote equality for everyone in this world as much as possible. You once told my father the latter half. Qin Huayu said. Yes. Yang Dingtian said. Then, if we eliminate the Tiando League and the evil ways, unify the entire world, completely suppress the martial arts, and nationalize all the armed forces, do you want to be the supreme ruler of this world? Qin Huayu said, what do you think the supreme ruler of this world should be called? In the current situation, it's very difficult to unify the world. The chaotic continent is too big. It will become many countries. Yang Dingtian said. That supreme ruler is the emperor. Alright, then do you want to be the emperor? Qin Huayu asked. Yang Dingtian shook his head and said, first of all, in our lifetime, we might not be able to see martial arts completely suppressed. Secondly, perhaps I don't know what I want to do, but I definitely don't want to be the emperor. To put it in the most shameless way, what I want is to be respected by everyone, and every word that comes out of my mouth is supreme power. However, I have never used this power myself. I only need to know that I have changed many things in this world and that many people worship me. It's completely enough. Then, Yang Dingtian smiled embarrassedly and said, you're not allowed to laugh at me. I said that ideals are to follow the highest and ultimate goal, so I said it in the most shameless way. Qin Huayu laughed and said, that's right, your goal is too far. It's even greater than my father's goal. The next day, Yang Dingtian entered the northwest Qin city. At this moment, there were already many guests in the Qin city. However, this time was obviously different from Qin Wanchou's birthday. During Qin Wanchou's birthday banquet, all the forces in the chaotic continent were present to celebrate. This time, for Qin Jiaojiao's wedding, all the forces in the northwest continent came. In the inner city, Yang Dingtian formally greeted Qin Wanchou in the main hall. He used honorifics and said, son-in-law Yang Dingtian greets father-in-law. The other party obviously knew that Yang Dingtian was Shenlang and that Shenlang had schemed against Qin Wanchou before. Of course, in reality, he was schemed against by Qin Wanchou. However, from Qin Wanchou's words, it was as if he didn't know that Yang Dingtian was Shenlang and didn't mention anything about Shenlang. Furthermore, Qin Wanchou's attitude towards Yang Dingtian was neither good nor bad, neither cold nor warm. However, it was still somewhat cold and couldn't be mentioned in the same breath as his attitude towards Shenlang. As for Yang Dingtian and Qin Huayu colluding to deal with Qin Shiqi, Qin Wanchou obviously knew about it. He didn't approve nor disapprove and just watched. Obviously, as long as the competition between Qin Huayu and Qin Shiqi didn't cross the line, he was happy to see it. After meeting Qin Wanchou in a very formal manner, Yang Dingtian returned to his residence to rest. That's right, Yang Dingtian already had a residence in the Qin city. Because he was about to marry Qin Jiaojiao and become Qin Wanchou's son-in-law, he was considered half a master in the Qin city and also had a very large residence. The entire residence was over 100 acres and had a few hundred houses. What was rare and commendable was that the entire residence was completely empty at this moment and there wasn't a single person in the Qin city. After Yang Dingtian and his subordinates entered the residence for 1,000 years, they didn't even have half a spy. From the chefs to the guards, they were all Yang Dingtian's men. In the afternoon, Yang Dingtian sent out invitations and invited all the influential people in the Qin city to attend the banquet at the Yang residence. At tea night, Yang Dingtian's banquet officially began. Qin Huayu brought his wife, Ning Rou, and was the first to arrive. However, little Ningning didn't come for some reason. When she saw Yang Dingtian, Ning Rou was slightly startled and then said gently, "We meet again, little brother." Ning Rou's attitude was very natural and was still as gentle as water. Qin Huayu looked at Ning Rou lovingly and said with a smile, "Now we are even closer. You're right to call me little brother. Isn't brother-in-law your little brother? Big brother, sister-in-law, please come in. Yang Dingtian led Qin Huayu and Ning Rou in. Little brother, did you invite Aunt Mengli and Jiao Jiao? Qin Huayu asked. Yang Dingtian replied, I invited Aunt Mengli but not Jiao Jiao. That's good, that's good. Qin Huayu smiled and then whispered into Yang Dingtian's ear, little brother, come with me. Yang Dingtian immediately followed. Qin Huayu said with a serious face, little brother, father expressed great dissatisfaction with me today. I'm not in a good situation now. Yang Dingtian asked, what happened? Qin Huayu said, he has no problem with you supporting me. He has no problem with you marrying Jiao Jiao. He even has no problem with us working together against that demonist Qin Chichi. However, we cannot harm Qin City's interests. He thinks that we have crossed the line by stopping Qin Chichi from controlling the southwest mainland. We have harmed Qin City's interests. With regards to this point, Yang Dingtian wasn't surprised. He asked, then which point does Sect Master Qin object to? Qin Huayu said, he thinks that the previous pavilion master of the Sky Phoenix Pavilion is too unruly and difficult to control. If we save her and let her regain control of the Sky Phoenix Pavilion, Qin City will not be able to control the Sky Phoenix Pavilion and will not be able to truly control the southwest mainland. Yang Dingtian said, but we have already been kind. Duan Ruyan regaining control of the Sky Phoenix Pavilion is only temporary. When the time comes, the Sky Phoenix Pavilion master will be my sister-in-law, Ning Rou. Your sister-in-law is 29 years old this year. Her cultivation has completely disappeared a few years ago. However, even though she is the #1 genius of the southwest mainland, she was only a martial ancestor before her cultivation disappeared. How difficult would it be for her to become the Sky Phoenix Pavilion master? Qin Huayu said. Yang Dingtian asked, then, has sister-in-law been cultivating in the past few years? Qin Huayu said, although she has lost all her cultivation, she has been cultivating even harder than I have. Yang Dingtian said, then, if sister-in-law can break through to Martial Venerable in 1 or 2 years, can she become the Sky Phoenix Pavilion master? For example, she is no longer a virgin. Will the fact that she once gave birth be a fatal obstacle? That won't happen. Qin Huayu said, actually, the Sky Phoenix Pavilion does not have a rule that states that one cannot lose their virginity or have children. However, once they lost their virginity and became pregnant, the martial arts that they practiced would dissipate from their bodies. Therefore, not losing their virginity and not getting pregnant seems to have become their heavenly rule. Then, Qin Huayu said, if Rou can break through to Martial Venerable in 1 or 2 years, then, within 10 years, she will be able to break through to Master. She will become the youngest master in the history of the Sky Phoenix Pavilion. Becoming the Sky Phoenix Pavilion master will be a matter of course. Yang Dingtian said, that's good. Then I know what to do. After my wedding with Jiao Jiao, I will immediately restore sister-in-law's cultivation. Qin Huayu said, it's too late. It's best if she can recover today and let father see the results tomorrow. Otherwise, he won't let us save Duan Ruyan. But, that will take a long time. I have to entertain guests tonight. Yang Dingtian said. I will help you entertain the guests. Now, go restore your sister-in-law's cultivation. Qin Huayu said, this is the most important thing. Yang Dingtian said, there's one more thing. When I restore sister-in-law's cultivation, it's inevitable that I will offend her, let's not talk about this. Am I such a pedantic person? Qin Huayu waved his hand and said to Ning Rou, go with Yang Dingtian and let him help you restore your cultivation. No matter what he asks you to do it, understand? Ning Rou nodded and said gently, yes, husband. At this moment, the guest usher outside shouted, Madam Qin Mingli has arrived. Qin Huayu said, brother, quickly bring sister-in-law over. Otherwise, you won't be able to get away. Yang Dingtian cupped his hands at Qin Huayu and then brought Ning Rou to the secret basement. This secret basement was built under a pool. It seemed that all the secret rooms in the northwest Qin city liked to be built underwater. In the secret room, there were only Yang Dingtian and Ning Ro. The entire secret room was instantly filled with Ning Ro's unique body fragrance. She was still so beautiful and graceful, full and gentle. Sister Ning, when I restore your cultivation later, there might be some intimacy. I might even touch your body, Yang Dingtian said. Ning Ro blushed slightly and said, I treat you as my brother. Why would I mind? Yang Dingtian asked again, how's little Ningning? She's very good, but she misses you a lot. She's not close to her father. Ning Ro said, she wants you every day. Then, Ning Ro smiled and said, all right, brother, stop chatting. Let's begin. Yang Dingtian blushed and said, all right then. Do you want all of it? Ning Ro asked shyly. Yang Dingtian nodded in embarrassment. Chapter 367. The golden sword light flashed and blood splattered everywhere. Qin Zhaojiao's sword maid, Qiu Ning's beautiful head was directly chopped off and flew into the sky. Blood spurted out from her neck like a fountain, and after a few seconds, her graceful body fell straight to the ground. Yang Dingtian sheathed his sword and shook the reins, charging into Qin Zhaojiao's embroidery room. After entering Qin Zhaojiao's building, he was met with dozens of shocked gazes. Inside, there were only women. Some were young, some were mature. Every woman was wearing a mask. Some had Yang Peipei's face painted on them, while others had Shimin Yanyan's face painted on them. The women wearing Yang Peipei's mask were dressed in extremely revealing clothing and were putting on a completely unbearable performance. Among the crowd, there were a few women wearing Yang Dingtian's mask and the clothes he often wore. Originally, as long as Yang Dingtian entered, these people would pretend to be Yang Dingtian, Shimin Yanyan, and Yang Peipei and put on all kinds of unbearable performances to mock Yang Dingtian and Mrs. Shimin's illicit relationship. But after Yang Dingtian chopped off Qin Zhaojiao's sword maid, Qiu Ning's head at the door, there was a deathly silence inside. Seeing Yang Dingtian enter, these women's eyes were filled with fear and their legs trembled. How would they dare to put on an unbearable performance to disgust Yang Dingtian? Yang Dingtian stopped his war horse and slowly pulled out his golden soul sword. In an instant, the dozens of women present trembled and half of them felt their legs go soft. They were almost paralyzed from fear. City Lord Yang, spare us, spare us. Then, the dozens of women knelt down and kowtowed continuously. Yang Dingtian shook off the blood on his sword and sheathed it. He said coldly, the next time I see someone humiliating my wife, my mother-in-law, no matter who instigated it or forced it, I will tear her into pieces. Do you understand? He he. At this moment, a sneer came from the embroidery building. Qin Zhaojiao walked out and said in disdain, how impressive. Unfortunately, this isn't your Cloud Heaven city, but my Northwest Qin city. Afterward, Qin Zhaojiao stared sternly at the women who were kneeling on the ground and spoke in a cold voice, what are you all kneeling for? Get up and put on a good show for me. Let everyone see Yang Dingtian and Yang Peipei's disgraceful behavior. However, none of the maids kneeling on the ground dared to stand up. Yang Dingtian looked at Qin Zhaojiao. She was the bride today, but she wasn't wearing a red dress. Instead, she was wearing a white dress with a white flower in her hair. The meaning behind this was even more vicious. This was a mourning dress for a man, a dress for a dead husband. This Qin Zhaojiao hadn't married Yang Dingtian yet, but she had already cursed Yang Dingtian to die. Yang Dingtian's eyes narrowed and said coldly, you, go change your clothes and follow me to the Qin palace to get married? Get married? Qin Zhaojiao sneered, with you? Are you worthy? Then, Qin Zhaojiao sneered, if you want me to get married, sure. I'll wear this widow's dress. I think it looks good. Yang Dingtian took a step forward and said coldly, go change your clothes, now. Get lost, stay away from me, Qin Zhaojiao said coldly. Slap. Yang Dingtian gave her a tight slap. Qin Zhaozhao was instantly sent flying for more than 10 meters, slamming into the wall and falling down. I don't hit women, but I hit my wife, Yang Dingtian said coldly. Yan Yan was beaten by me before. The more I hit her, the more I loved her. The more I hit her, the more my heart ached. When I hit you, I hit your face. The more I hit you, the more disgusted I feel. Qin Zhaozhao crawled up from the ground and half of her face immediately swelled up. Blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. She looked at Yang Dingtian in disbelief and hissed, "Bastard, you dare to hit me? If it wasn't for the fact that you will become my wife, I would have killed you with my sword," Yang Dingtian said coldly. Then, Yang Dingtian's palm sucked Qiu Ning's severed head into his palm and threw it at Qin Zhaozhao. "I don't care if you insult me, but you deserve to die for insulting my wife." Yang Dingtian sneered, "Sword servant Qiu, your mouth is cheap but your heart is venomous. I killed you with my sword." When Qin Zhaozhao saw Qiu Ning's severed head, her eyes widened in shock. Qiu Ning was her sword servant and the niece of the Autumn Water Sword sect master. She was actually killed by Yang Dingtian with a single sword in the northwest Qin city. Qin Zhaozhao looked at Yang Dingtian in disbelief. Yang Dingtian threw Qiu Ning's head over and it hit her chest, causing her to fall to the ground. Half a minute later, she screamed at Yang Dingtian, "Yang Dingtian, you actually killed my sword servant. I won't let you leave this place alive. I will ask my father to tear you into pieces. I will ask my men to destroy your Cloud Heaven city. I will ask my men to take your wife, your mother-in-law." Before Qin Zhaozhao could finish cursing, Yang Dingtian swung his sword and slapped Qin Zhaozhao's delicate face. The slap was extremely vicious, causing Qin Zhaozhao to fly a few meters up and fall down. "Qin Zhaozhao, I'm warning you. If you dare to humiliate Yan Yan again, I will smash all your teeth and cut your tongue into pieces. I will then force you to eat it all." "I mean what I say," Yang Dingtian said coldly. Half of Qin Zhaozhao's face was already swollen. She crawled up and looked at Yang Dingtian with eyes filled with hatred. She said coldly, "Yang Dingtian, I will make sure you die in Qin City. I will torture you until you beg for death. I hope you have the ability," Yang Dingtian said coldly, "but now, go and change into a red wedding dress for me." "In your dreams," Qin Zhaozhao said coldly. Yang Dingtian went up and grabbed Qin Zhaozhao like a little chick. "What are you doing?" Qin Zhaozhao asked in shock. Yang Dingtian grabbed her clothes and tore them apart. In an instant, her clothes were torn into pieces. Then, he said to the maids kneeling on the ground, "All of you, go in and take out her red wedding dress. Help Qin Zhaozhao change into it and dress her up. If you don't dress her up properly in half an hour, I will chop off your hands." "Yes." The dozens of maids on the ground answered in unison. Then, they rushed into the embroidery building with the fastest speed and took out all kinds of tools and Qin Zhaozhao's clothes. Qin Zhaozhao wanted to curse out loud and curse viciously. Yang Dingtian grabbed her chin and pulled, dislocating it. Qin Zhaozhao couldn't curse at all. She could only look at Yang Dingtian with hatred. The raging flames almost burned her to a crisp. Then, Qin Zhaozhao, whose mystic meridians were locked, was like a puppet as the dozens of maids bathed her. Then, they put on the red wedding dress one by one. Finally, they started to put makeup on her face. However, the right side of her face was already red and swollen. This caused her originally beautiful and gorgeous face to look extremely out of place at this moment. But under Yang Dingtian's pressure, the maids still put makeup on her, making her face look a little strange. After dressing up, the incense finished burning. Suddenly, the dozens of maids collapsed to the ground. At this moment, Yang Dingtian could bring Qin Zhaozhao to the main hall of the Qin Palace to attend the wedding. Yang Dingtian glanced at Qin Zhaozhao, whose face was half swollen, and said, "Go get a big piece of silk." "Yes." A maid quickly ran into the embroidery building, then quickly took it out and handed it to Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian covered Qin Zhaojiao's head with this piece of red silk, covering her unsightly face. There was no custom of covering the head when getting married in the primal chaos continent. This coincided with the weddings on Earth. Afterward, Yang Dingtian grabbed Qin Zhaojiao and sat her in front of him before galloping the horse and leaving her courtyard. They rushed out of the Qin castle and didn't encounter any obstructions. They galloped all the way and didn't miss the auspicious hour. Under the protection of 2,000 festive cavalrymen and the cheers of the commoners on both sides of the road, Yang Dingtian and his entourage entered the Qin palace with the bride in their arms. At this moment, the entire Qin palace was brightly lit. Every warrior and maid was wearing red armor and dresses to celebrate Qin Zhaojiao's wedding. After entering the Qin palace, there were palace lanterns everywhere, and the ground was covered with bright red flowers. The square was densely packed with people who were watching the ceremony. These people weren't qualified to enter the main hall, and they were all outstanding warriors from the Qin city territory. Tonight, they had no wine to drink, no meat to eat, and no seats to sit on. But they were still incomparably excited and felt incomparably honored. This was because the few thousand of them were the best selected from the hundreds of thousands of warriors under the Qin city. Only then were they qualified to attend today's ceremony. After entering the square, Yang Dingtian dismounted from his horse and directly carried Qin Zhaojiao in his arms. Instantly, the few thousand warriors in the square looked at Yang Dingtian with fervent and envious gazes. To them, Qin Zhaojiao was completely high up and unattainable. Now, Yang Dingtian actually carried such a noble and beautiful woman in his arms and completely owned her. Of course, Yang Dingtian's identity was also unattainable to them. The wedding was held in the second main hall of the Qin palace and not the central main hall that was used for Qin Wanshou's birthday banquet. The second main hall was the first main hall in the center of the sleeping quarters, and it was right in front of them. The main hall stood on the 99 steps, and each step was over 30 centimeters long. The huge palace stood on the base of the stairs that were over 30 meters high and looked incomparably majestic. At this moment, the 99 steps were completely covered with fresh flowers, leaving only a 3-meter path in the middle that was covered with a golden carpet. Yang Dingtian carried Qin Zhaojiao and walked up the steps. At this moment, hundreds of banquet tables were set up in the main hall and hundreds of distinguished guests were already waiting. Step by step, Yang Dingtian carried Qin Zhaojiao and walked up the 99 steps. When they stepped onto the last step, suddenly, cannons roared and drums and zither played in unison. Hundreds of women sang in unison. Thousands of beautiful phoenixes were released into the sky. The bride and groom have arrived. The MC shouted. Immediately, all the guests in the main hall stood up to welcome them. Yang Dingtian put Qin Zhaojiao down because the two of them were going to hold hands and walk into the main hall for the ceremony. However, there were many guests at this moment and Qin Zhaojiao was afraid that she would cause trouble on the spot. If you want to cause trouble, I will immediately remove your veil and let everyone see your ugly appearance, Yang Dingtian said. Then, he pulled her hand and walked inside. Qin Zhaojiao's body stiffened at first, then she followed Yang Dingtian inside. It was unknown if Yang Dingtian's threat was effective or if she had other thoughts. When the guests saw that Qin Zhaojiao was still wearing a veil, they couldn't help but be slightly stunned. Then, they felt that the mood was even more beautiful and couldn't help but praise in their hearts. Qin City was indeed Qin City, even the wedding was so extraordinary. Yang Dingtian walked to the end of the main hall and there were 4 seats placed at the highest point. These 4 seats were for the parents of the bride and groom respectively. At this moment, they were all empty. This was because Yang Dingtian's parents were on Earth. Originally, the master and master's wife could sit, but the master, Dongfang Minmi, was no longer around and the master's wife was tens of thousands of miles away. Bride and groom, kneel and invite the elders, the matchmaker, Li Guinong, said loudly. Yang Dingtian pulled Qin Zhaojiao and walked towards the right side hall. Qin Wanshou and his wife, Qiu Shuihan, were in the side hall, waiting for Yang Dingtian and Qin Zhaojiao to invite them out. If they weren't satisfied with the son-in-law, then the father-in-law and mother-in-law wouldn't be able to invite them out for a long time. This way, the groom would lose a lot of face and wouldn't be able to raise his head in the future. When they arrived at the side hall's entrance, Yang Dingtian pushed open the door and pulled Qin Zhaojiao in. On the soft couch in the side hall, the mighty and tall Qin Wanchou sat on the left side, looking awe-inspiring without being angry. The frosty, arrogant, and beautiful Qiu Shuihan didn't have a trace of a smile on her face, and her gaze towards Yang Dingtian was ice-cold. One person went to close the side hall's door. Although this Qiu Ruhan was Qin Zhaojiao's mother, she was even more beautiful than Qin Zhaojiao. She wasn't as voluptuous as Madame Shimin, with a sharp oval face and slim curves. Although she was already in her 40s, she didn't look more than 30 years old. However, although this woman's eyebrows were like willow leaves and her lips were like peach plums, she had a delicate and beautiful appearance. But her nose was straight and tall, making her appear cold and arrogant. She was especially high up and wasn't easy to get along with. At this moment, Qiu Ruhan's cold and critical gaze stared at Yang Dingtian as she said in a cold voice, "Zhao Zhao, why are you wearing a veil? Could it be that the women who go to Qin City have a shameful appearance? Take it off." Qin Zhaojiao took off the veil. Her face was red and swollen from the beating and her chin was dislocated. Yang Dingtian stepped forward and covered her chin again. The northwest Qin City, which was practically the largest force in the world, married their first daughter to Yang Dingtian as a concubine. Now, this rich young Miss face was actually swollen and her chin was dislocated. In an instant, a gust of cold wind blew through the side hall and the surrounding temperature dropped by more than 10 degrees. A wave of cold killing intent instantly filled the air. Qin Wanchou and Qiu Ruhan's eyes were like lightning as they stared at Yang Dingtian. Qin Zhaojiao didn't cry or make a fuss. She directly knelt down and said, "Father, Mother, Yang Dingtian broke into Qin Castle and destroyed the million-catty heaven exterminating thorn on the city gate. He injured dozens of nobles in Qin City, killed my sword maid, mother's niece, Qiu Ning. He beat and humiliated my daughter, stripped my daughter naked in front of everyone, slapped me twice, dislocated my jaw, threatened to cut off my tongue, cut it into pieces, and then eat it." Just as Qin Zhaojiao finished speaking, all the porcelain in the side hall shattered in an instant. Boundless killing intent instantly scraped Yang Dingtian's neck. "Father, Mother, please uphold justice for your daughter." Qin Zhaojiao kowtowed and said with endless hatred, "Father, Mother, please dismember Yang Dingtian into pieces, peel off his skin, break his bones, and burn his bones to ashes." Then, Qin Zhaojiao placed her forehead on the ground and didn't get up again. Qiu Ruhan's eyes were like thorns as she stared at Yang Dingtian and said coldly, "Yang Dingtian, is what my daughter said true? You destroyed my Qin castle's million-heaven exterminating thorn?" "Yes, madam," Yang Dingtian replied. "You injured dozens of Qin City's noble disciples?" Qiu Ruhan asked again. With every sentence she asked, the cold killing intent in her heart grew stronger. "Yes, madam," Yang Dingtian replied. "You killed my niece, my daughter's only sword attendant, Qiu Ning?" Qiu Ruhan asked. Her words were as sharp as ice blades. "Yes, madam," Yang Dingtian replied. In an instant, Qiu Ruhan stretched out her jade-like hand and a terrifyingly sharp ice blade appeared between her fingers. Her beautiful eyes looked coldly at Yang Dingtian and said, "Bullying my Qin City's daughter, then die." Then, she stood up and the ice blade in her hand grew longer and longer. The blue color on it became deeper and deeper. At this moment, Qin Wanchou stood up and looked at Yang Dingtian. "Yang Dingtian, my daughter hates you to the bone and wants to dismember you into pieces. How are you going to treat her?" "Fist and pillow," Yang Dingtian replied. "Be more direct," Qin Wanchou said. "Beat her," Yang Dingtian said. "Beat her until she's obedient, beat her until she's convinced." In an instant, Qiu Ruhan's anger soared to the sky. A ball of blue flames appeared behind her and shot out like lightning. The ice blade in her hand pierced towards Yang Dingtian. Qin Zhaojiao's face was instantly filled with delight. She gritted her teeth and waited for Yang Dingtian to be dismembered by her mother. At this moment, another figure was even faster. Qin Wanchou directly appeared in front of his wife and blocked Qiu Ruhan's ice blade. He held her hand and put it down. Then, he came in front of Yang Dingtian and patted his shoulder. I originally looked down on you, but now I quite like you. That's how you treat women. Beat her until she's obedient, but when beating your wife, it's best not to hit her face. Your wife's face is also your face. After we get married, hit the place where you can't see, where there's a lot of meat. Yang Dingtian said. Ha ha ha. Qin Wanchou laughed and said, tell me the truth, do you hate Qin Zhaojiao now? I hate her. Yang Dingtian said. Then after we get married, do you still want her? Qin Wanchou asked. Yes, of course. Yang Dingtian said, note, begging for support, begging for votes. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to Chidian.com to read. You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.